Hello, and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Revamped and this week's tragically sad episode of Angel. In that, obviously, we're here to cover Angel, Season 1, Episode 8, I Will Remember You. I originally was going to come in here and tell you to do Season 1, Episode 8, and I'll remember you. So I wanted to say it.
Touche.
This one's special.
No, I understand.
This one's mine. You can't say anything.
I'm not here.
This episode aired November 23rd, 1999, written by David Greenwalt and directed by Janine Renshaw. Damn, David Greenwalt has fucked up. We're going to bring up his name again in a second, but in this episode, when a battle with a powerful demon restores Angel's humanity, he's given a chance to live a normal life and be with Buffy. But as the consequences of that choice become clear, Angel is forced to make an impossible decision that will change everything. It's always about the changes. Guest stars this episode, we have Carrie Cannon as the female Oracle, Randall Slavin as the male Oracle, slaving away in them chambers, that's for sure. David Walk and Chris Durand both portray the Mora demon from what I saw. So I was like, did one person do half of it and one do another one? I guess maybe one was the stunt double for the Mora demon and maybe one was
or
the
I
actual
guess
actor like saying the voice
one like
lines
bigger
and
than
stuff,
the
you know?
other because they said that like when he like whatever it's called, I can't think of the word, whenever he like
maybe he was the regenerated version.
Whenever he regenerated, they said he was like stronger and blah blah.
They didn't specify. They just said number 1 and number 2. I'm like, okay, if one was the stunt double, then just say that one was the stunt double. We get it. Like
that's making me think there's a different one from the beginning of the show to the end, or the episode to the end.
I don't fucking know. What I do know, as we've said, and we will say 7,000 more times, is that this episode is sad. So, that being said, before I go into all my stuff that I'll say about it, I guess, and then along the way, what did you think of watching this episode?
It was sad.
Perfect. We can end it there. We just don't even have to do it. Goodbye, everyone. We will remember you.
Maybe. It was unexpected because you did not tell me that Buffy was going to be in this episode. So that was both a good surprise, but also kind of a dreaded one when you just kind of expect what's coming in a way, because it just never ends well with these two. So yeah, it was unexpected and it was really, really, really sad at the end. And I don't know how to really feel about it. We'll get into more of that as the episode goes on, but I'm conflicted. With Angel in particular, I'm conflicted.
Yeah, maybe you can bounce off my stuff too, because I get it. Like my initial stuff, like I didn't even write anything overall. I was like, poor Buffy, poor Angel. I cry so hard for this one every time. That's all I had up until this morning for my opening thoughts.
That's that.
But I mean, in honesty, it's one of those episodes where I feel like I have a lot of feelings for it, which I get in your moment. You're like, I don't really know exactly how to describe maybe what I'm feeling and stuff like that, or what to think of it. It is worth doing it as we go through it. But I think as a piece of storytelling, I end up really liking it, but I also hate it for what it does to us. because for so long we've rode this Bangel wave, and by the end of season 3, when Angel leaves Sunnydale, I think a lot of us thought we were finally done with it, even those people that are like not a fan of the couple or just kind of over the situation, like the back and forth of everything. You were kind of even that way,
for sure.
you know what I mean? But you're able to still kind of play devil's advocate and see both sides of things and still like them and things like that. And I feel like if even knowing what we know up to this point, when you go back and watch the beginning of the series, you still like their story and them like being involved with one another and all that type of stuff. But then this episode like kind of brings us back from all of that for one last moment with them in this way. I know, like I said, a lot of people were over them by as a couple, I guess is where I could have led with that. But like for those of us who still care about them, this episode hits in a different way. And it's like kind of made for those people who believe that they're supposed to be soulmates, because in actuality, that's what they are. They're star-crossed lovers. They're twin flames. They just unfortunately can't be together. And sometimes that's honestly how soulmates are twin flame. I mean, you're my soulmate and I can't be with you just because we like different things on our bodies. But if me and you were just plopped out and like we had no partners and no things like that in the current day and time, we would just be off living in the mountains with Nixon and just, doing our own thing. And then also just like completely dating. We'd have our partners living on.
And the only reason that we're not soulmates is because we were born gay.
Exactly.
Maybe this is actually us. We've been living an opposite date this whole time, and there's an alternate reality where things are like they make a little more sense. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
they're a little easier.
The opposite day. Yes. Yeah. Like, what else can I say though? Like, I did put somewhere in here that this episode is kind of like a slap in the face in that way, but in the best way possible, just because we finally get to see Buffy and Angel exist together in this episode. Like, no curses hanging over them. There's no vampire slayer conflict at the center of things, and no barriers that they're having to like, create an obstacle for them to bounce around. Obviously in this episode there is like problems that arise, but for a little bit of moment, like a little portal of time, they don't have to do any of that stuff. So for the first time they get to experience the kind of relationship that both of them have wanted but could never have. And I think that's what makes it so devastating as an episode and as a storyline and plot device, all the things that they go through. Like, no matter how heartbreaking the episode is, it's a strong piece of tragic storytelling, and that's something that the show always does best. It always wants to give you something and like take it from you, and you would be bored, as we've always said, kind of otherwise, especially when it comes to discussing Bangel. We've always like landed on that. I've said it a bunch of times on the pod, but I think that the tragic storytelling, it really works well for both series, but specifically for Angel, because that's his entire character. We'll discuss that a lot going through this. His story is always about loss, sacrifice, like having happiness ripped away from him. Most of the time when he's just touching it, think back to season 2 of Buffy when he's finally becoming intimate with her, he doesn't really know the stipulations of like what this moment of happiness, like that's presented to all of us as if we're all learning that for the first time. He doesn't know the stipulations of the curse. He just knows he's cursed with the soul. He doesn't know that something can take it away, and all that unfolds. So like it's ripped away from him there. It's ripped away from him when he gets killed by Buffy after coming back and sent to hell, goes 100 something years living in the hell dimension, comes back, has this teeter totter with her all of season 3, and then has to culminate in him being like, I'm fucking leaving town because this can't work between us. It's going to be best for you. It's going to hurt me a lot, but I know it'll help you in the long run. So he's always had that mature angle from it when coming into it. And then it makes sense, like going off of Pangs, why he didn't want to come back and like present himself to Buffy, because he didn't want to stir up those emotions yet again, so if anything, the episode in its way, because it doesn't happen again in this way, obviously didn't tell you about this episode occurring, and I left it at season 3, Angel leaves the show and Buffy and him are never really together again. That wasn't a lie. They aren't together ever again. They get a moment right here to be together potentially again, but then it goes all awry and we don't get that. So this episode truly kind of acts as final closure for Buffy and Angel's relationship. I found this review by Critically Touched, and they said this episode is also important in how it puts a final sense of closure on Buffy and Angel's relationship. Sure, the reasons for the split were listed and explained in Buffy, the prom, graduation day part 2, but there was no real sense of resolution, just Angel walking off into the mist. And even with him sneaking around in the Pangs episode, it was clear that Angel believed that there was an obligation for him to fulfill. Despite his leaving Buffy, the rules of the breakup weren't clear enough, and for Angel to carry on with his mission and Buffy to move on with Riley in her life, this this episode had to happen, and happen it did. The whole story here is about sacrifice, but take away the supernatural elements and it's still every bit as powerful. It resonates because of what Angel had to experience and suffer through, and the sympathy he merits borders on empathy, because every single one of us knows what it's like to live every day with pain, especially those of us who have been in such high-strung relationships. As if we haven't beat this in enough. But I went on to look at a couple of Reddit reviews too, and Tasha, this random girl on a post about it, said, I don't like Bangel. I probably would even say I actively dislike the ship. Yet I do actually feel for them in this episode. Maybe it's a testament to Summer Strike Eller's acting, or maybe it's because I like an unrequited love story. And I was like, ooh, that's a fun way to kind of put that, because like there's probably a handful of people that don't like Bangel out there and stuff like that as well. And yet those people still feel for them in this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Feel like what they're going through, what their experience is like. I would not want to go through this in any way, shape, or form. And then on another page that I found, like, I didn't really write down their review, and I didn't even honestly read through it. It just really bold, big letters. The caption of the post was called, I will remember you as one last cathartic heartbreak. It's like, that's the bestest way. Yeah, cool, Brandon. That's the best way to describe this episode, though. I need to take a breather on my fucking self, because that's what this episode is. So
yeah.
No,
but that stop.
I don't fucking know.
No, that's like a good way to put it, though, because there is something cathartic about it, because like you're saying, it's almost necessary to have. And I think why I'm conflicted about it is because I can't tell, even though it cushions the blow and it takes it away, like basically this day, this episode, this whole thing disappears, and it's like non-consequential other than to Angel, who's like used to being tortured. So at this point, it's just like whatever, add insult to injury, I suppose. But I don't know. I can't decide if I like that aspect. Like, that this is just without consequence, or like no one remembers the day stripped away. Like, I almost don't like those plot twists where it's like, never mind. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like,
Yeah.
And not that I want them to have to live with more torture, because that is what it is. Just like the first thing that you read, their story is it's just so interwoven with like dramatics and pain, to a point where I do understand the people that are like the girl on Reddit that's like, I'm kind of over it, and I would go as far as to say I dislike the relationship. I can understand those people, but at the same time, I feel like if we are going to revisit it, and this is the other part of me why I am conflicted, if we are going to revisit them together, I would rather it be like this, because then at least we know that, and selfishly speaking, but at least we know that Buffy doesn't have to like live with the consequences of that day, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I think that's the easy ticket way out for her. Like, she has to experience this moment, and Angel had, like, that's the fucked up part. And I'm gonna say this more times than not. Like, Angel having to experience that. Remember, Buffy sobbing in his fucking arms is devastating, and he can clean it up. Like, hopefully a few days pass, and he doesn't have. I mean, who could get over that in a few days? He probably will never get over this, but it's something that's probably gonna always be in the back of his head, lingering in like a weird thing. And that's something that I really want to discuss whenever we get to like the very ending, whenever he makes this choice and stuff like that too, I guess, to really speak on it there. It's just an interesting element provided, but like, this poor man is going to suffer, and that's just his life. But in this choice too, with reversing time, the fact that no one else is going to remember it is a good cop out, just because, like you're saying, Buffy doesn't have to remember it, so she's spared from the pain of having to know that. And it would be fair for everyone to share the equality, like, of the force of it, like, not just one person have to bear the weight of this, but it is more fair, I guess, like, in the perspective of the show and in universe, for him to be like, oh, I don't want her to remember, or they would say by reversing it, like, he's the only one to remember and no one else has to, so we don't have to pay this attention, we don't have to worry about it. Buffy and him have that small little like sequence, which is just to say too, like, her ass coming in here and basically just the cold open is what we get. She just comes in to be like, why were you there? They have a 5-minute conversation about it, and she's like, all right, well, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing. And that was that, and then she leaves. You know what I mean? That's how it plays out. They really didn't have that day and stuff like that. Which I will say, adding to just like what I like about the episode in general, I do like the fact that we have some sort of I don't want to call it time travel, but like a reset. I love temporal folds and things like that. Like I love like when other shows do it. I've seen it a lot on like Charmed and other stuff, or like episodes where they have like Groundhog Day type stuff, where somebody's just repeating cyclical things and like changing the day each day, but some elements are still the same, or it still continues to repeat. And that's obviously not the perspective that this show grants on that. But I like the fact that they interweave like resetting time to change something. I don't think we've really ever seen that on either of these shows. Obviously not the show because we're 8 episodes in, but over on Buffy, I can't really think of a time that we've seen that. I mean, I'm like hoping that that's not, especially so far. I know the Wish kind of plays with like an alternate reality universe. I kind of like the way this one does in that way, and it resets back to Cordelia's wish occurring, and things have changed. So there's a little bit of temporal folding there. We get a little bit of that in Doppelgangland too, when Evil Willow's brought into the mix and stuff as a vampire and into the real world stuff. So we deal with like alternate universes in that way, but I don't think we've ever had something where somebody says like, oh, like something so bad happened that we need to, or something happened in general. It doesn't have to be so bad, because this was good for the most part, except Angel getting his ass whooped up. But to reset time and just go back, that's an interesting take that we have not gotten to see. And it's kind of interesting that the powers that be granted the fact that they were, most like times you go to like people and say this, they're like, oh, we're not doing that. Like time, you get into it in the Marvel universe where there's all these different timelines and you can't take the stones back when you're dealing with the Infinity Stones. And like Loki, if you've watched his TV series, like for people listening, I'm pretty sure you have not, but when you start to create stuff, it's like whenever you go back in time in general, they say don't talk to anybody, don't change anything, just go back and look and oversee, right. Especially if you could change something in the future just because of a small interaction, especially if you're seen. Sometimes if you're like a ghost and you're just an outlooker and they can't see you, that's different. But a lot of times when you do time travel stuff, you're really back in that time period and you got to like stay off the side, especially if you're going back to like, say you're like Charmed did it, where the girls went back as their adult selves and they saw their childlike selves and they got to see their parents interact with their mother, their grandmother, things like that. And they don't know that this is what their kids are going to look like, one day grown up 25 years from now, like unless there's just something so pivotal about it. Like they did end up finding out, but they had to creep around and watch out what they were doing. And then they did it like, and I think 4 seasons later in another episode of Charmed where they like play around with this whole temporal fold thing and keep going in and out of like past events, and they accidentally change a couple little things because they like step on an item that breaks and it's not in the curio cabinet anymore, or like whatever. I don't know how to explain that without like talking about Charmed, and this is Angel, not Charmed.
No, I know what you're saying. Like I'm watching a show.
Cool.
Have you ever seen that show From? Oh, it's really good. But anyway, there's an element that comes on later in the season that deals with time travel, where one of the characters realizes that they call it story walking in the show, and she realizes that she's able to do that, and someone dies that's close to her. I don't want to like say who in case someone watches the show and I don't want to spoil it. But so someone passes away that's close to her, and she realizes during the same time that she can like time travel essentially. So she of course tries to time travel and change the sequence of events in which someone close to her dies, so that way that they don't die. And she realizes, she learns the hard way, because apparently she's done this like several times over the course of like different lifetimes and stuff, where she's tried to save this person and she never can. And they keep telling her, like other people that are familiar with the rules, they're like, there's nothing you can do. Like you can go back and do this 1,000 times and try to do it a million different ways.
This is how it's supposed to happen.
It's fate, and you can do nothing to change it, And so that's really why I think that like rule is so universal in this like time travel like dimension, is like you can do it, but you can't really change anything technically, like you can try, but I don't think that matters much in the greater scheme of things. So
For
like
real.
The fact that they're able to do this on Angel, where it is kind of an element of time traveling because they're going back in time to the beginning of that day, and he is able to do it differently with one piece of information that he has to immediately destroy the problem, So, yeah, I guess that he has like a loophole. He has been granted like one thing.
He really does. Can you imagine though if he like got back there and by the time he had done that, he's standing before Buffy again and he just decides, you know what, fuck it, and he just does the same thing again anyway. Like just continues to think more demon comes
and then
in,
he continues
to
bring the oracles new gifts, and he just keeps resetting the day like 50 times. There's like 50 first dates, but it's like an angel.
Something. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't feel like I know anything else to honestly say about it, and like nothing that won't come up. I obviously put some plot point stuff to like speak
Yeah.
on while we're going throughout it, and I'm sure stuff will come up. So, that being said, I guess like only thing we can do is unpack it and walk through the episode. So let's do it, and let's not cry. Except I'm going to at the end. I
We're gonna
promise.
cry.
Oh, I'm going
Get your
to.
Kleenex.
You might not.
Except for me.
Yes, exactly.
I have no feelings.
Courtney did at least tear up in the reacts, you guys. There may or may not be a reaction video. Who knows? But
I think I teared up.
You did tear up. You did tear up. You did. I think it's different too. Like sometimes when I'm in the room with you watching stuff for a reaction, like you have the perspective of looking at me and then being like,
oh yeah,
shit,
and I'm an empath. Like I don't even have to look at you. If someone's sitting next to me with with any kind of energy, I'm instantly like a sponge for it, and I'm like,
I didn't look. I haven't watched the video back because it just scripted or whatever's giving me a weird time, like trying to like export the video. It's saying it can't do it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Awesome. I love that so much. But whenever I do go back and actually am able to look at it, I'm curious to see like how my face looks because I know I was crying.
Maybe we'll do a Brandon reacts this time.
I know, right? Watch Brandon cry is more that like what that is because, like I said, I cry every single time I watch this. I'm gonna choke up. Like it invokes that emotion and stuff like that when you're walking through it. I feel like it never changes from my experience in that. Like, and the nostalgia from the past also ties into that too because I remember my young adolescent that's not looking through it with that lens is like so devastated in this story, so I relate back to that and all of this stuff. The only time I didn't cry as much is this when we watched it. I did still cry, but I just wasn't. Sometimes I blubber. Like when I was writing the script out, I was crying throughout. Like, no. Before anything even happened, before this motherfucker even became a fucking damn human, I was like crying. So yeah, anyways, I'll tell y'all about it in a second when we actually start the episode. Which we're doing right now, where we open at Angel Investigations, with Angel winding up an antique clock sitting on his desk before setting it down and testing the surface beneath it, watching a pencil slowly roll across the uneven wood. Very specific, but, I was setting up the mood because this bitch is uneven. Shangel's reviews put in a little thing that I just put as like a sentence, but they were like, the episode opens with Angel winding a clock, and it's a beautifully poetic and disturbing start to an episode that is all about time and the eventual rewinding of time. And then I added on to that, like, and the clock appears several times throughout the episode at that. Like every time I see it, I get sad and also pissed off because I'm like, ugh, like they make a feature on the fact of what's happening with time.
Yeah, I picked up on that after whenever I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I should have kind of known. Like, like later you pick up on all the little Easter eggs they dropped about time, especially, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's clear.
Out in the main hall, out in the main office, the main hall. Where's the hall? Cordelia and Doyle quietly observe him, clearly waiting for some kind of emotional collapse after his trip to Sunnydale. Cordelia remarks that Angel saw Buffy and somehow came back acting completely normal, which sure is actually more concerning than if he were openly brooding. Doyle wonders if maybe Angel is finally over Buffy, something Cordelia immediately dismisses. She's like,
where's the crabby scowl, the morbid gloom? This just means it cut deeper than usual. Batten down the hatches. Here comes Hurricane Buffy.
You think?
And like up to that, you just think that's the emotional, like an emotional hurricane, kind of like an upheaval of like the King of Cups in reverse or some kind of shit. If we're going tarot route, like it's just not. You're gonna ride this wave for a little bit. It's gonna be upsetting, yada yada. But I like the way she phrases that because like when that's saying "Here comes Hurricane Buffy," that's letting us know through her context that Buffy is going to be standing in the doorframe in 5 seconds if you actually think back to it. But then also, just like I said, the emotional upheaval Angel's experiencing is Hurricane Buffy as that. So clever dialogue there. But things escalate quickly when Cordelia spots Angel pulling a stake from his desk drawer and testing the point with his finger. She and Doyle rush into the office, convinced he's about to dust himself over Buffy, before Angel calmly explains he's just using it to level his desk because the floor is uneven. I was like, okay, one, why wouldn't you just go to like Hobby Lobby? Sorry, I always want to call that because they're both orange. If you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, like some kind of like Ace Hardware, wherever, to get a piece of wood and actually level out, like file it down, cut it into a block, and like flip your desk over and nail it into the bottom of the desk and create the difference of height there. Who's going to jam a piece of stick into there so everyone walking around the damn desk can trip up? That's my issue with this.
I
just
know,
to say.
but also,
had to point that out.
Why does he just have a stake on hand? I'm like, aren't you the vampire?
Well, I don't know why later, like, I mean, even downstairs, we see that he has like a weapons cabinet. So why isn't down there? Like, I don't know. I guess in case he has to run out quick, he's got them stashed around random places and shit like that. I don't fucking know. It was just wild to me. I was just like, someone's gonna I would trip over that. I would have hit my ankle on that 4 times, and then I'd be taking it back out and be like, well, the desk can just be uneven.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't know why Angel even wants it leveled. Like, I think he's just trying to find anything to do but think about like what just happened. And he's just like, oh well, now I'll take care of this desk. I've been noticing is a little shifty. I'm bored in this room, pondering to myself. I can hear these bitches out here talking shit about me because I have super vampire hearing. So that's happening. Like, whatever. I really like this moment though, like just because whenever they're in there talking and stuff, Cordelia throws Doyle under the bus when he's like, "You guys thought, you know, like I could kill myself or whatever," and she's like, "Oh no, Doyle totally did, but I didn't." It's like, okay, stop. She's talking about Doyle likes to jump to conclusions. Cordelia, you're the one out here talking the whole time. Doyle ain't even saying nothing. The fuck. She pivots into interrogating Angel about Sunnydale and Buffy while he explains he purposely stayed hidden while protecting her because he didn't want to reopen the old wounds that we've been talking about for 2 episodes between them, insisting Buffy will always matter to him, but reminds them that she's human, he isn't, and that reality hasn't changed, so there's no need to stir up the past. Cordelia is quick to point out what he did was avoid Buffy, not wanting to stir, but also admitting that from her perspective opinion,
if my ex came to town and was all stalking me in the shadows and then left, and then he didn't even say hello, I'd be...
Buffy's voice finishing her sentence.
A little upset.
She appears standing in the doorway, pointedly looking at Angel to voice.
Wouldn't you?
And by she, obviously, we mean Buffy, because everyone knows. As Angel stares at her like a deer in headlights, we fade to black and cue the Angel theme. That's accurate.
Very.
Buffy came in here serving bitch. I'm just saying, like the whole opening fucking sequence. Pointedly looking at Angel, she's gonna do it here again in a second. I'm just like, and he like retreats really fast, which I didn't write stuff about. Maybe we'll talk about it. Angel's obviously caught off guard while Cordelia awkwardly catches up with Buffy. Unlike her and Oz did, they have a less powerful dynamic than the visit that they went through. Because like Cordelia was so about Oz being there. She went to dinner with him and hung out with him and Doyle, had drinks and all this stuff. And Buffy comes to town and she's like everything but like hang out with this bitch. She's like, I want to avoid her as much as possible, essentially. She introduces Doyle, though, before dragging him out of the office to give Buffy and Angel privacy. Again, that look that Buffy gives Angel while Cordelia asks how she is, and she's like, I've been better. I'm like, oh my God, the passive aggressiveness. It's passive aggressive, but not. It's passive because it's Buffy. I love how also that Doyle didn't even get the chance to say hello. She's like, this is Doyle. He has visions of people in trouble. And she's like, also, this is us leaving. And he just drags his ass out. He's like, he's trying to say nice to make your acquaintance, but he gets cut off by her ripping him the fuck out of there. I'm like, he got to see a picture of her last episode and at least meet her face to face right here. But that's like it for him. Once alone, Buffy confronts Angel over the issue at hand, needing explanations, and Angel apologizes, but insists he was trying to do what he thought was right. Buffy pushes back hard against him making decisions for her without involving her, pointing out that she's no longer a high school girl needing protection. Angel admits, despite her thinking she wasn't important enough to let in on him being there, it was the exact reason of importance of her that he didn't, though, he describes. And she still doesn't feel, though, that he needed to skulk around, but they also acknowledge the help he provided during Thanksgiving's intense battle. This like dialogue between them, this is the stuff that kind of annoys me a little bit, just because he kind of caves quickly to her. Like I don't really get why. Like they should just, if they're gonna argue about it, just fucking argue about it in a way. Like he retreats back and like becomes like puppy dog eyed at her and is like, I'm sorry, I know it was wrong because you're saying it was. And she is making valid points. I'm not trying to invalidate what Buffy's saying about him skulking around and hiding behind her back, but he knew that that was possibly going to make it worse if she did find out about it. And we had talked about that last episode with everybody else knowing, but she didn't know. Like it just wasn't fair. And as fate would have it, she did find out. That's how the universe always works. You think secrets are going to stay hidden? No, they are not. It was probably Saturn retrograde when this was happening, as per usual, and it brought the restrictions of non-restriction back, and Angel got caught. But so, I mean, I get cowering and stuff like that, but he could have just like not agreed with her fully in this statement and just been like, well, it's still like this is just kind of is what it is. It would have also cleaned up this whole like mess of us getting back into the stir of things. Like, I'm not saying treat her like a dick, but maybe just like be hard on your facts so that way y'all can have this quick conversation y'all were supposed to anyways, like we get at the end, and she would just leave and y'all go back. Y'all haven't done anything or any harm to it. We didn't get all wrapped up in this and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a whole thing, but I don't even know where I was really truly going with that. But it's just like, I remember watching it and I was just kind of like annoyed with the interaction between the two of them in that way. I was just like, oh my God, just either kiss or just fucking like, do one or the other. I just don't need all this in between. Out in the lobby, Doyle asks Cordelia if Buffy is always like this, while Cordelia explains there's usually a lot of hurt whenever Buffy and Angel are together. She casually remarks they probably have enough time for coffee and the director's cut of Titanic before these two finish unpacking their emotional damage, which is a fun little like way to say that, because one, having Cordelia be like the narrator for Buffy and Angel's relationship to Doyle, as like, because Doyle obviously needs a little bit of insight too. It's probably the worst person for it to come from, but at least we have a familiarized person to kind of be like, no, this is always how this goes. Like they hurt each other, blah, 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 like whatever. But also like the phrasing of her being like, you know, Titanic is like a 4-hour fucking movie. And she's talking about we can go watch the director's cut, which means it's probably like 6 to 7 hours of actual film time or something like that. I was like, damn. She's like, that's how long it's going to take them to possibly like unpack a little bit of this or even like put a dent in their problems. I'm like, no. Back inside the office, Buffy and Angel attempt to settle into a calmer conversation, and Buffy admits that simply being around Angel still affects her deeply and throws her emotionally off balance. Angel agrees, and Buffy says they should stick to the plan they originally made and keep their distance between each other until a lot of time has passed. Given enough time, they should be able to. Angel finishing, forget. I wrote yeah in here because I was going to solemnly say yeah. So it's kind of sad because like he completes her sentence here. And she's like fumbling with her little wrist bangles and stuff like that. And just like, yeah, like she's nervous. And she's like, almost didn't expect him to complete her sentence that she said. And it brings a realization with the messaging as well. And all she can do is be like, yeah, it kind of hurts. Like, it's just like later on when they're down in the room talking and he's pondering why they should or shouldn't immediately jump back into this. Should they like weigh the consequences of what, like, if this isn't real and all that type of stuff. She's like getting hurt by him expressing like those truths in the moment. And so much she can handle it in that moment. I don't really know how to put that, but I like the way that they do that. Like Buffy then turns to leave to start forgetting when a green-faced demon in armor embellishing a gem centered at its forehead suddenly crashes through the office window, wielding a sword and attacking Angel with that bitch. Buffy jumps into the fight while Angel narrowly avoids the demon strikes and tossing an axe at it, missing it just barely. I like how we get the fucking, like, this is the only time we get it, I think, in the episode, but we get the like Buffy screaming Angel the way she always does whenever he's like about to get hurt and stuff. Like it's so dramatic. It's so them. Like, oh my God, of course they had to put this in here. The one line Sarah Michelle Gellar definitely always knows, except she knows all her lines always. But I like how the commotion starts going on in there, and by that point Cordelia and Doyle have just almost made it out of the building, and they stop because Doyle hears the crashing and fighting sounds, and he turns back like looking towards the office, and he's like, should we? And then Cordelia just simply sums it up.
Yeah. The Buffy and Angel show. First, they talk out their differences, and then they punch them out. Shouldn't we stick our noses where they don't belong and get them flattened? No, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's the Buffy and Angel show. First, they talk out their problems, then they punch them out. That line always kills me because I'm like, again, that does really kind of sum it up. But Cordelia is also not bringing him on in exactly what's happening. Like, but it's also kind of fucked up. Cordelia is just assuming they're in there fighting now.
I know, but still.
It doesn't make sense. Like last time they were physically fighting like this is because Angel is evil.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So she's not putting all the pieces together. She's just leaving little tidbits out, which does kind of go into like Cordelia being a little jealous, like not necessarily over Buffy or towards Angel.
No, she's just like lackluster.
Just because she's stealing her spotlight of being on the show or some shit like that. Like she's acting in some type of way, and she has this whole viewpoint on like Buffy and Angel in general. She's like, didn't you leave her? Why is she?
She's probably just irritated because she's getting like the vibe that home is following her to LA, you know, because now Buffy's there and she's like, fuck all this. I don't care what happens.
Buffy manages to fight the demon off long enough for Angel to stab it in the stomach, drawing glowing green blood before the demon escapes back out the broken window. Buffy landing on top of Angel during that fight too, because he like flips Buffy over and like she lands onto him when she has to like turn over. Like their faces are just awkwardly right there when they're trying to get up, as if like, you know, something might happen. Like they're really close, and that's how it used to be back in the day, especially when they were trying not to be together. They'd be in a fight with a vampire in the cemetery or something like that to draw them closer together and be like, oh, we shouldn't, but also let's make out. Like, God. Like, this is just kind of fucked up already for them in this race because they're like, oh God, no, we have to continue to like not do this. Buffy sarcastically asks if the demon is a friend of his, while Angel says he's never seen it before, and Buffy suggests that she should change. They hunt it down and kill it. We then cut to Buffy and Angel tracking the demon through the sewers beneath Los Angeles with his handy skill of blood scent awareness. Buffy commenting on his crack staff running off and being useless to help him with like research in the meantime. I was like, damn, she called him a crack staff. It's like, Buffy, that's kind of harsh. Like, you don't even know Doyle like that. The entire sequence basically kind of becomes one long emotionally loaded conversation disguised as demon hunting. Basically the same thing we got in the prom. Because, you know, Buffy makes her little comment here in a minute. Anyways, it's a little callback to that, but this is exactly what it's giving. I like how Buffy's on edge too. Like, oh, I don't really like it, but Buffy's on edge down here because that rat runs by and she turns around to like act like she's gonna stake it or something just because she heard like some teeny wisp of wind. I'm like, Buffy, you know that ain't no huge ass like footsteps in the puddles behind y'all or anything like that. It's literally a rat scurrying around. I'm like, what is happening? Angel mocks Buffy's choice of weapons because of the fact that she's got that stake, and it's not even a vampire that they're after. And Buffy critiques his not so handy fighting axe that he brought along. She's like, that's a big ass axe. I'm like, well, the axe is going to work 10 times more than the stake at the end of the day. But I summed it up because the Angel's apparently getting offended because I think he was low-key thinking like, that's my dinner you're about to slay, because, you know, he likes to eat rats, as we always joke about. It's like a back in the day touchy subject for him. Jokes aside, though, clearly the tension is there between them, and they're down here having to like, look for this thing. And he's a vampire, so I think he's feeling some type of way about her having it, and this being like her not bringing a knife or something like that to kill this demon, because the demon doesn't need a stake. We stake vampires. We use pieces of wood towards them. So I think it's a personal problem. But like, of course, Buffy's going to bring a stake because she's like, I know how to use this weapon or whatever the fuck she says, and replying to him. And I'm like, at the end of the day, it's a pointy object. So she brought whatever she had. Maybe she didn't bring any extra weapons, but she's a slayer, so she's always going to carry a stake around with her. Plus, you don't know if there's vampires down there in that sewage system either. True. So what if they ran into some vampires and Angel had the axe? I mean, he could chop some heads off, but what's Buffy about to use? That's Buffy's first weapon to be grabbed because she's a vampire slayer. She's not called Buffy the Demon Slayer. She does also slay demons. You get what I mean? But once again, all wrapped up under the staple of vampire, which is why I chose to say Angel. Like, see why Angel pointed that out. But like I said, the tension's already there anyways. It's whatever. Something I like thought about while I was saying that about Buffy being there as well that I totally overlooked. In the sequence, whenever Cordelia's like, what brings you to town? Obviously, we know she's there to bitch out Angel, but she's like, I came to see my dad. We ain't heard about Hank Summer since like season 2 of Buffy, like whenever he dropped her back off at the house. So like under the guise, I wonder if she actually did see her dad. And also, where's her bag? She's like, you got somewhere I can change whenever before they go down to the sewers. I was like, Buffy, I didn't see you coming with no bag. Did you drop it off somewhere else, like or outside the door frame, some shit like that? Like, are you on your way to town? How'd you get here? Did you take a bus like you know how to do? You don't have a driver's license as far as I know. So did you like get an Uber? Like
before Uber?
I need to know these little things. Can you talk about like what you and your dad did? Like, you know, your dad lives in LA. Did you go stay with him? She didn't need the Airbnb. Like, did he buy you a few pairs of heels while you were here to make you happy like you used to like?
You know, she doesn't see her damn
completely
dad.
overlooked. I know. She came right there to Angel. She just used it as a guise. But I thought it was interesting that the show chose to write that in there just because of the fact that we know her dad lives in LA. So like it's a good like excuse for her to be like, oh, I was here seeing my father. And like for what? The day after Thanksgiving? Why didn't you invite your dad to like Sunnydale to come have Thanksgiving dinner with y'all since mom was out in Illinois with fucking Aunt Arlene?
Well,
you could have seen him then, Buffy. No, you weren't here to see him. You didn't even call him on Thanksgiving.
She totally did not. But you know why? She needed to come prepared with an excuse because she was coming to bitch out Angel for being around her for no goddamn reason. His dad doesn't live in Sunnydale. His mom don't live there either. So why are you back?
Well,
why are you back?
Remember he said they taste like chicken. Oh, yeah. He ate them.
They don't live at all. So basically... he ain't got no excuse other than being a stalker, and she has an excuse because, lucky for her, her dad happens to live there, even though she did not go see him, and we all know that.
Oh, all right. Well, as the tension begins to rise here, it also between them starts to rise more and build, becoming a little bit more and more palpable as they keep on snipping, like about keeping score and shit like that. Her feeling indebted to help him hunt this demon, though, in exchange for his help in Sunnydale, like is what they kind of land on. They continue to track it, or he continues to track it through its blood, swiping some of the blood off the wall and kind of rubbing it into his fingers. I don't remember if he sniffs it or not, but that seems like a thing to do apparently on these shows, is sniff blood that's been on the floor, because Buffy did it back in the Halloween episode. We know Angel likes blood, so you know, why not? But Angel starts to comment on how he feels weird, and Buffy initially thinks that he's talking about like their whole emotionally complicated situation.
Angel, You okay?
I feel weird.
I know. I do too. I mean, I only came to see you so I could tell you face to face not to see me face to face anymore. And I know there's a fly in that logic ointment somewhere, but the next thing I knew, we were being attacked by this mutant ninja demon thing, and then we're on the floor on top of each other, and it's just really confusing being around you.
No, I meant like I felt weird from the demon's blood.
I like the phrasing of her thing too. She's like, I came to see you to tell you not to see me.
Yeah,
or like,
no, I have it in my quotes too.
but, so you can say it later because I don't have it. But he ends up telling her like, no, I mean like the demon's blood, it's powerful, like that's what I'm talking about. I feel weird. And she's like, oh, let me just rewind my like slowly walk back from my awkward moment, like my outburst that I had. It makes sense, but it also does open up some discussion here because Angel stops her and admits that when they're apart, the pain becomes manageable. But when she's standing right in front of him, you know, where he can actually reach out and touch her, it becomes unbearable. The conversation slowly turns towards the reality that nothing has actually changed between them. Angel tells Buffy he still can't give her a future or normal life, while Buffy admits no matter how much they miss each other, getting close again would only lead to another painful separation eventually. The two growing closer to one another over the convo, Buffy bitterly jokes she was really hoping to avoid another heartbreaking sewer conversation, spouting out that she's doing okay at home now and good for herself, him acknowledging that because he knows that he's out of the picture. Reminding that's why he left. He wants that for her. She halts the convo and aims to just get this demon hunting finished, stepping towards a ladder leading to above ground, suggesting maybe the demon might have went up into daylight where he can't follow, but she can. So before she climbs up, Angel, you know, lets her know like there's that dive bar or whatever it is that like injured demons sometimes go to get help and whatnot, getting patched up. I'm like, little does he know this demon just like X-Men shit for Wolverine, so he doesn't really need all that. Also, the demon did not clearly go up, but he's like, you know, be careful, go up there, you do your thing, I'll do my thing down here. So we're getting the split up between these bitches, thank God, because we need an emotional reprieve. Angel continues tracking the Moor demon through the tunnels, and the demon's eyes appear glowing in the shadows behind him. I really like I don't know if they put like a black light on contacts. It kind of reminds me of the demons like from Living Conditions,
Yes,
with Kathy and like her. I cannot remember what the hell them demons were called. I know they were called something, but it was like like the Muktagar, I think is actually what they were. And saying it made me remember something like that. Who knows? We don't need to remember it. We need to remember this. Blah, 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 blah. The demon ambushes him from behind, cutting his hand during the fight, along with his not-so-handy fighting axe, too. I love how Buffy commented on his not-so-handy fighting axe, and I was like, this is comical, because 2 seconds later, this demon, like, slices it with his little samurai sword and chops the weapon in half where Angel can't even use it, and I'm like, ooh, I bet you wish you had a steak now, ain't it, Angel? Angel vamps out and attacks with more aggression before finally managing to force the demon to stab itself through the chest. I would say assume it like does, because I think he grabs its own hands with like I think he breaks its blade or something, because he gets stabbed with his own thing. The glowing blood starts to cover Angel's hand, and that wound that he has on it, it's like fucking weird little swirly starts to happen, and he's like, what the fuck is this happening to me? Like, what is happening? Your face during this was actually pretty. This, if anything, was like a really good react moment, because you were just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I do not get it. Just because this is happening. Angel collapses to the ground, gasping as he hears a heartbeat for the first time in centuries after his body like reanimates, and you know, we hear thump 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 into the darkness as he's saying, like, whispering, I'm alive. He's like, oh shit, I'm in disbelief, I'm living again, because he's like gasping for air, and I'm like, this would be more believable if on the show we didn't hear vampires technically breathing, because there's been times when like Spike was running or something, or like someone was running and they're like, or like Angel fucking breathing down here in the damn well when he's like, you have to do it, Sandra, I have no breath, I can't give her CPR, but yeah, he's over there talking about, we can see his nostrils moving and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? So this was a little hard to believe, but thank God they put the heartbeat there. Did you get what was happening as soon as, like, I mean, obviously he said I'm alive, so you get clued in pretty fast and stuff like that, but like, where did you kind of sit? Like,
I got it before.
I'm
pretty sure that I got it like just the second before he said that he was alive, and that like little kind of ultrasound, it reminded me of an ultrasound, like the heartbeat sound. But anyway, as soon as that started happening, I was like, oh shit, does that mean he has a heartbeat? Like, it instantly registered. And then obviously when he said that he's alive, I was like, oh shit, I guess so. What the fuck is happening?
I love that for people that are watching it their first time too, just to be like, what is going to come of this? Buffy's in town, like he's talking about I'm alive. Like, what is this? What's
So,
about to happen
yeah.
when the scene comes back in?
Instantly,
You know?
though, I was like, they're about to go bang.
Well,
Like, instantly. I was like, if that's not the
I
most
would.
human thought, like.
Cordelia, she was thinking it too. Back at Angel Investigations, Cordelia and Doyle return to find the office destroyed from the earlier fight. She's just like, God damn, now I gotta clean all this shit up. Cordelia initially mistakes some random dust for Angel's ashes before Angel suddenly walks in through the front door during daylight. And no, he didn't get an umbrella. That is really funny. She's like, oh, that's just some shit that I forgot to clean up. It was just comical, obviously, because it's like dust and stuff. That's a huge ass bit of dust on the floor that Cordelia apparently did not clean up, just to say as well. Like, girl, you need to clean a little bit better. Doyle realizes, though, voicing that Angel is alive. Angel stands directly in the sunlit window explaining what happened with the demon's blood. I just realized, like, this watch too, that this is the second time this season we've watched Angel be able to stand in sunlight, which you almost never expected the first time around, because obviously, you know, he had that moment in Harsh Light of Day after he got the Gem of Amara, and I feel like that kind of adds like a level of fucked up for him, because we were talking about it when we did that episode, how he hasn't seen the sun in like all these years. He's been granted this option of choice in that moment to like figure out if he wants to keep this ring for himself. You know what I mean? It was like a whole thing there. But this was just like another little tease for him. Like, now he's full human though, and able to walk in the sun permanently. And then at the end of this episode too, it's still taken away from him. So again, this guy's life really does kind of suck within this moment, because he keeps getting like granted these cool like things, and they just get stripped away from him.
I know.
It's not even about the love. It's just
he can enjoy nothing, even when you
Absolutely
think he can.
Nothing. Doyle checks his pulse, which I thought was funny. He runs over, he's like, let me feel like if he actually got blood pumping in your veins and stuff. And I'm like, his cardiovascular system's about to be having an interesting thing too, because I don't know if that whatever blood was in his system was not his own. So like whenever the regeneration happens, does it automatically fill you up with like all like 8 pints of blood that you have to keep living and stuff like that? Or is he like running off like the pig's blood that's running through his system, and now he's got pig's blood? Like, if that was a real human, like where did the lines blur here? You know what I mean? Because you know me, I'm always thinking about the practical side of things, because now he's got pig's blood running through his veins. He ain't had a human since the last time he drank Buffy.
You're right.
As far as I remember. So so I guess it regenerated, just made him back human. Like, it took stuff out. Like, I don't have no clue that happened. I guess that white light emerging and going away was the vampire part of him vanquishing out or some shit like that. I have no clue. But that's kind of wild. Like, think about it. If the Mara demon's blood had been mixed with any other vampire in the same way, they would have been stripped and turned back human too. So technically, if you could just grab all of the more, like, collect some Mara demons, suck them, drive their blood, and they're just going to regenerate. So you're good to go. They got endless amounts of it. You could just start running a fucking blood drive for people whenever they turn into a vampire. You can get them back. You ain't got to play Slayer no more, Buffy. You could like be just fighting. You can finally become Buffy the Demon Slayer instead of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because the vampires won't exist anymore, you know? It's an interesting concept to kind of think about that I just thought about right now. Either way, Doyle's playing around with his pulse, and Angel struggles to process every physical sensation that's hitting him all at once, which is probably very overwhelming to have all these things back, because you're kind of numb when you're a vampire. Suddenly, Angel realizes how overwhelmingly hungry he is in this, and immediately begins demolishing everything in the office refrigerator. That shit was funny as
him with the
like,
chocolate.
He goes to run past him, and Cordelia makes that comment. She's like, look how he's gonna eat everything in sight, because she thinks that he's about to attack them or some shit. I'm like, girl, like, we're talking about he's human. He ain't about to attack y'all. The fuck are you talking about? But I thought it was funny, the first thing he picks up to eat is a fucking Pop-Tart off the damn thing. And then like he goes on to like eat other stuff. He was like half a sandwich that's in the damn
together
fridge.
That didn't make no damn sense. He ate like a bite of a Pop-Tart and an apple, and like I can't even remember. And some yogurt and some chocolate. Like, it was a lot.
He was on a feast. I know when we're watching it, I was like, this is literally me.
I know, this is just me after I smoke a little weed,
just eating in general. Or just in general, me all day long, as of course. Like, I wrote my notes. So, comment about the yogurt specifically, just because he drinks it out of the cup, and he's like, some stuff's like gross or whatever. He didn't, I guess, like it. I used to think back in the day, literally up until this watch, that it was maybe spoiled, like that it was just gone bad in the fridge, and that's why he was like, "Ew, I don't like it" or whatever. But I think it's just a personal preference. He's saying, "Oh, I don't care for yogurt right here." You know what I mean? Because he's eating all these other things. Then I also kind of like realized that I felt bad for them, because if in theory, if you think about it, all the stuff in the refrigerator is Doyle and Cordelia's at this office. So that means all the food that they packed up for their lunch this day just got fucking eaten, and now they have nothing to eat. So now they got to go out for lunch or some shit because Angel just ran through the ransacked the whole damn fridge and ate all their bullshit. Cordelia was like, I just got that chocolate to ground me whenever I'm upset later.
And she's like, and now I'm about to also lose my job, so I don't know.
I'm gonna need that emotional wear for a chocolate. Like, you need to give me that back. I need that chocolate. Taking chocolate from bitches. But like worth pointing out too, like all the food that he's experiencing, of course they had like bread, and I'm sure they had meat in some sort of way. I don't know if they put it on sandwiches to have sandwiches and subs, but like him commenting on all the food that he has or whatever, like in front of him, and along the rest of the episode too, his expression being like, I love food. It's like, it's giving me life. I'm like, none of this stuff existed, like Pop-Tarts and yogurt and shit like that back whenever he was alive the last time. You know what I mean? So he was just eating like bread
beans and rice or
drinking
something.
meat, all the ham and ale, or whatever they ate in the late 1700s or whatever the fuck it was that he was born and living in. Like, I can't remember what year it was.
Those homies never even had processed food before.
At all.
Which is probably good for
he
him.
needs to run through. I mean, yeah, honestly, his body's probably, well, he's running off pig's blood, so his body's not the best right now. It's trying to recalibrate.
You're right.
But I'm like, bro, you need to go hit up like the spots. You need to go hit up Raising Cane's. You need to go to fucking like, since we were joking back in the day about Subway, go get a sub from them. Like, maybe don't because, you know, gross.
At least get their
like,
cookies. I don't know.
Like, yeah, something like.
Eat some Nutella.
Like, there are so many endless options out there. If you love chocolate, you're going to love Nutella, Angel.
I mean, I feel almost worse for him more than anything about the fact that he's never had Nutella. Like, fuck all this Buffy stuff. This man has never eaten Nutella. That is heartbreaking.
Maybe that's the chocolate that they end up getting later, because he's talking, I love peanut butter and I love chocolate and I love ice cream.
He loves everything.
Either way, he loves some food. Just
he's
like
definitely
us.
a Taurus.
The sequence, yes, except he's a Cancer, I think.
Oh.
With a Taurus,
Makes
with
sense.
a Taurus rising. It does. I really do think it's sweet, just to say too, the excitement that we get to watch David especially act out and portray that. Like, obviously food itself, us speaking about it, like, it's such a human experience to have that, and to also taste food after not having an appetite. Vampires don't even, I don't think they have the same taste buds or receptors the same way for food. So sure, they can eat it, but do they get the same stuff off of it like most people would? I ended up writing in my notes too after this. I should have just carried on the whole conversation like with what we ended up talking about, what we rambled on. But I was like, I couldn't imagine losing those sensations, because you know how people back whenever COVID was going around, they were like losing, like they would come back from having COVID and couldn't even taste certain foods anymore, or food at all in a certain way. Like during it, no, I could not. Like, I'm like, that's what Angel has to live through every day. I was like, what the fuck? Like, no. You got time for that? Things start to calm down, though, and Angel instructs Cordy to go find Buffy, but not disclose what's happened to him just yet, not till he knows what it means. Some time then passes, and through research, Doyle identifies the creature in a book as a Mora demon, a powerful assassin demon charged to take out warriors of good, such as Angel and Buffy, and need vast quantities of salt to live. They're like, that's really important for context. The one sort of, I guess. Along with how their veins supposedly run with the blood of eternity, having regenerative properties, as Angel takes notice to meet his reflection in the window that is being cast by the sun, realizing this is what happened to him. He's been regenerated, but not sure on why. Doyle suggesting it doesn't matter. The demon's dead and he's alive, lich, so it's happy fun time. Except not. But I would have stared in that mirror a little bit longer too. I know when we were watching it, I was saying like, oh my God, that's crazy to think about. Like, even whenever he had his moment the last time with the gem of Amara, he still couldn't see his reflection. He was still a vampire. So like, this is the first time he's looked at himself in 200 years plus. Like, that is literally insane. And he's like, damn, my hair does look kind of funny. Like, 'cause people always want to comment on his BTS hair. If they haven't already, I'm pretty sure that's come up, but that's definitely a future thing. Angel disagrees and becomes determined to figure out whether his transformation is permanent, and Doyle suggests the powers that be are the only ones that have this kind of power to make this sort of thing occur, typically, and Angel demands that he takes him to get the answers. But they are otherworldly beings, only communed with through channels, so that's not as easy, but they do land on the fact that they could go see the oracles, which will be their next stop. I started thinking like on the Mora demon in this, just because they were giving like the lore and stuff on it, and I was like, why did the Mora demon even attack them in the first place? Like,
what was the point?
what I kind of land on is like a little conspiracy for it is like he's been here all this time, probably. Maybe he like lives in LA or something like that. Like maybe he lives in Calabasas next to the Kardashians or some shit. Like I don't know. But the only thing I can guess is like he is like rural to this area. So like he might have sensed Buffy and Angel being in the space and like been like, oh, these are two birds, one stone kind of vibe. Like I can like take out these warriors since they're together here. You know, if Sunnydale was like too far away for him to be charged with them before. Like I don't really know what it is. Or maybe now that Angel's on this path in Los Angeles, cosmically his path has opened up in a different way. So he's seen as a bigger threat because he's like helping the helpless type thing. You know what I mean? So they're seeing him as a more formidable warrior and potential champion in his future. And that's why it's executed that way. Because it's really unclear if he's like, we know he attacks Angel, and he's obviously showing up to Angel investigations. We don't know that necessarily he knows Buffy is there, but he's there obviously to kill Angel, and that's who his like fight is with the whole episode as well. It's not with Buffy. Buffy obviously steps in. You know what I'm saying?
I think maybe he was.
I don't know,
he was definitely after Angel, and Buffy just happened to be there as like a double whammy kind of thing. Because then if you would have gotten both of them, I'm sure that would have been extra good for that guy.
Literally. It didn't work out in his favor though because of the fact that Buffy was there. So I mean, honestly, like it's kind of like the powers that be. If you think about it in context, like they gave Doyle that vision for Angel to go do this shit to Buffy, have her be able to come here just so this timeline could open up for the Mora demon to be murdered and taken out, so that way it's not there to take out Angel. You know what I mean? It's almost like this was kind of supposed to happen in hindsight. This is how history was supposed to play out. All this bullshit as day was supposed to occur, so that way Angel could destroy this demon and still be a part of the world. Because if not, then like he might have gotten killed by this.
That's true.
Demon.
Yeah.
Who knows? If Buffy hadn't been there, like in theory, I would have think that Angel's strong enough to fight it, but like apparently these things are.
I mean, not in his human form. I don't think. Like I don't know.
No, not in its human form, obviously, but like right here when it first attacks.
Yeah, and obviously, like when you don't have the advantage of knowing the one thing that disables it, you know what I mean? Like initially, then.
Oh, I guess that's true too. Think about like maybe the Mora demon would have won because had he been in his office like fighting it one-on-one, then he would have possibly chopped it with the axe or something like that and thought it was dead. And then, you know, an hour later it reemerges and attacks him again. And he's just like, how the fuck am I going to kill this thing? They still land on the answer. The answer was in this damn book, or he obviously had to see it in a different perspective, but the answer was there in the book. You know what I mean? So he would just have to figure out something like that. I mean, at some point you would have like, even if it was cutting his damn head off and the head rolling off onto the floor and accidentally smacking that bullshit in his forehead, then
we could only,
you know what I mean? This damn demon's running around looking like me whenever I had those little stickers, the little jewel like multi-pack things that you could get when you were a kid. They were like
oh my god, I missed
and
those.
stuff. You know
oh
what I'm
my
talking
god.
about? Like, same. But thank you, right? 90s, maybe even before that. But I definitely fucked around with those in the 80s. I remember when Barbie dolls used to come with them too, so you could put them on their body. But I used to all the time put them on like my face or like I would the moons. I would put them upside down on as like Sailor Moon on my forehead. Yeah. Little to know, I was
put some on like the corner of my eyes sometimes.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. This demon looks like he's got one of them motherfuckers stuck on his
Jumbo size one. He took all of them and melted them down from one pack and made one.
Damn. Okay, anyways, Doyle brings Angel beneath the city to a mystical gateway hidden beneath the post office. I like how Doyle's like, it makes sense if you think about it. I guess it does, like as a portal, like exchange of mail and like messaging happens here, you know what I mean, like in general. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cute and clever. They didn't have to put that in there, but they chose to. Using a ritual, Doyle opens the passage, inferring that Angel asks us questions. Do not dilly-dally, because these guys tend to be finicky creatures. Noting Angel has to go alone since he's a warrior, unlike Doyle. The passageway becomes animated in flashes of light as he beseeches access for Angel, who crosses the threshold. And in another flash of light, we find Angel inside a white marble chamber before the oracles. The oracles, obviously, themselves are a man and a woman in representation, and they're like, they call each other like brother and sister, because he looks at her, I think at some point and says sister, or she says brother, like, and I don't know if that means like literally or if they're just a pair, like, and that's how they're summing it up. But I was like, maybe they're siblings. But I thought that these creatures looked pretty cool. I don't know how long the makeup took to do this shit too, but like they were like glowing gold, and then they've got these blue markings all over their body and stuff like that too. They're like dressed in black robes, which I thought was really sleek. Like hers is a little bit more like cut off at her shoulders, and his like drapes across the shoulder, kind of like Greek or like Roman style and stuff. I thought they actually looked pretty cool. I don't remember it for like conversation. I didn't really want to take the time to put it in here, but I remember Becoming Buffy. I think it was, they had a whole conversation that Sarah had found some stuff about the actor who played the man, about him being a little bitch on set and like having problems and stuff like that. Like, y'all should go listen to their coverage of this, or it would be on Investigating Angel. So it would have been like Sarah and Leia talking about it. But I remember they had some kind of conversation. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't them, it was Prophecy Girls. If it wasn't them, it was like buffering. But I'm pretty certain it was Sarah, because Sarah always comes with those types of facts. But I just remember someone framing a conversation around, I think actually it might have been Prophecy Girls, so maybe it was Steph. You guys go listen to all versions of this episode so that way you can cry multiple times.
So you can torture yourself.
I think it might have been actually Prophecy Girls, because I know they started bullshitting about it. I think Steph and Cara ended up like going back and forth about this guy making jokes about him and like calling him out and shit like that. I don't remember, but I always want to give the credit to Come Buffy, because that's usually where I find out all this like really crazy information I didn't know, because Sarah does a lot of research. But I think it really might have been Prophecy Girls podcast that did it. Like, I don't remember.
They all probably start converging together at some point when you listen to so many of them, and then you're also watching the show on top of it, like for the millionth time. Yeah. You're like, I don't know what's what anymore.
That's basically how it is, and I always say it kind of wraps up as one big blur. By the time we're done with this podcast, I'm not going to remember shit except
by the time you're done, you're going to be like quoting someone. You're like, I think so and so said this, and I'm going to be like, that was you.
Oh shit! And that will be my reaction then. Hello, you guys. Mid-editing Brandon here, just to put a little insert so that way I can fact check myself. I have now clarified that it was indeed Investigating Angel's original coverage of I Will Remember You, which featured Becoming Buffy, which makes it a whole confusing mess because, you know, Sarah over on Investigating is from Becoming Buffy, but she had her sisters come on to cover this episode as guests with them. And that's where I was getting my mindset all mixed up, because I was like, where is this coming from? What is happening? But for clarification, if you go to Investigating Podcast, which is now just Investigating Podcast because currently covering Stranger Things, you can find the coverage of this episode and find the information that I was trying to send you guys on the route to. So go check out that. Still 100% check out Prophecy Girls, because, you know, over here we love all three of these podcasts technically. So yeah, I'm going to shut up now and let you guys get back into the episode. Either way, these guys look super cool. I also like the music that plays when he gets in there too. I also have to point out, like, these people are kind of assholes, especially the dude. And I guess that's why they gave him so much like bullshit on whatever podcast episode it was covering it, just because of the way he's conversing with them at. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I also get why Doyle said like they're finicky because of the way they're acting. And like the second like Angel appears in the damn room too, they talk about come before us, lower being. I'm like, damn, not the call out, boy. I was like, okay, the fuck, hold up, not no hello.
I mean, at some point, I want somebody to stop them. Like, so how did y'all get to this position?
Oh, I got theories. I'm going to bring that up in just a minute.
Were you not at one point a lower being in order to be a higher being? Like, I'm confused.
I mean, I guess they're saying this to him because he's a fucking vampire, but I mean, at the same time, like, I don't know. This is their first, but I like this too because of the comment about lower being, and they kind of call him that the whole episode, or both times we see them. But then later on, like, the girl Oracle recognizes the change within Angel and what he's granting, and she's like, makes the flip side of this, which I'm going to talk about then, I guess. Angel rightly pisses them off by not bringing an offering, unaware he was supposed to bring a gift, offering his watch, which the woman gladly takes. And I really appreciate her comment when she like looks at the watch in her hand, with, you know, she fucking telekinetically pulls over to herself. She goes, I like time. There's so little and so much of it. Like, once again, though, that what Angel gives her is a fucking clock. Once again, the time is ticking with the watch. The time's going to run out, like, type thing. It's in your face again in another variant, which I'm actually just catching now. Question though, like, do you think that they have like a huge pile of offering items from people that brought them to him, like just chilling somewhere?
I mean, I wonder,
like, where are they stored at?
And I'm like, I don't know what happens if like someone brings them something and they hate it.
I don't think it matters as long as they brought an offering. Like,
then I want to know like what they do with the stuff they don't like, because they can't like go return it anywhere. You know what I mean? It's just the two of them, it seems. So I'm like, who do you give it to? Like, y'all just got a trash pile of stuff in there.
That's what I'm saying. Where do they store this shit at? But listen, how often do you think people actually come visit them for answers about stuff? So maybe they don't have that much stuff because maybe they're not besought very often.
Well, how many people even know, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. But obviously they know it's a thing for the fact that they need a gift or an offering, and they can like give you.
Angel didn't know.
they speak for the powers that be, essentially. You know what I mean? They're the ones that can communicate with the higher ups, and they just do it by listening to the air, and then like they know the answers. You know what I mean?
What
Like
if they
that's
just make
actually
it
a really
up?
cool ability. Oh, well, there's that too, but I don't think they do, obviously. But listen, this is what I wrote. I was like, so one, they're bored hanging around in this space all the time. Like, all they got is this room in this white hallway. I don't know where that fucking door goes, but my imagination took me to say that they walk through that door frame, and it's like they have a thrift store that they run, and it's called Otherworldly Thrift Store.
It's the
And,
Cabinet of
or like,
Curiosities thrift store.
yes. Or maybe they have like an online Etsy store or like eBay account like called Oracle Finds or like Thrifty Siblings or some shit, like, and they just sell off everyone's shit that they bring them, especially the shit that they don't like. So maybe that's really what they're doing in their meantime
Hell
when they're
yeah.
just waiting for someone to come, because who knows when the last time someone came to talk to them was.
I know, you're right.
Like, you should be happy someone came to visit you, because it's probably been 1,000 years since someone came to talk to you, and the first thing you'll say is, wait, what's up, lower being? No, you probably should say, hello, would you like some we hear you're human now, did you want a Nutella sandwich? We whip up bananas at the crate. It's got a little something. Would you like some coffee? We got.
I know, it would be funny if they were like, you didn't bring us anything, and Angel was like, yeah, myself, my presence. You know, ain't no one been in here in 7 years. I'm a guest.
Oh shit! I'm gonna skip back because I'm having this thought like that I'm gonna compare with food, because obviously we can bring back food all the time. If you had been a vampire for 200 something years and not eaten a lick of food or been able to taste it in the same way, and then you got magically turned back human, and you knew that you had an experience with food before, especially this day and time where we've had a lot more of a plethora of options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So say this is now, and then we're in 2226, because we're not in 2024 anymore. You come back and you're back mortal. What's the first food you're going to get?
Nutella.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, 100%.
What's your second?
Let me think.
People start shipping you to Nutella jars to your house.
Oh, feel free. I can never have enough. Like,
I have 4 in my cabinet right now because they were bad ones.
Oh my god, you should have brought me one this morning.
Really?
Nutella and like an actual food.
Yeah, like
let me
like
think.
A meal or something like that, or like for the first thing you would want to go to.
A Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang, you'd be like in the mock-up version of a Chick-fil-A sandwich from Popeyes.
No, it's not even that. I think I overdid it in my youth with Chick-fil-A, because I literally went through a stint where I had it like twice a week or something crazy.
Sure.
Like maybe even more than that. I don't know. And then like in the school lunches were technically like Chick-fil-A chicken too, so I would have it at school. Like it was just too much. So now it's not that I don't still love it. It's just that I want something like slightly different, I guess. And Popeyes is the closest thing I've found as far as like the texture of the chicken and the way they make the sandwich.
Like it. It's just like the simple one with just like mayo and pickles on it or something like that.
It just has pickle on it.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah, I love it. Eat it all day. What's yours? What are you going for? You're like, I'm going to whatever buffet has the best food of all time, so I'm gonna have 18 things at the same time.
That sounds like typical. Mine's super easy and also like just as simple as yours plus Nutella. Mine's Doritos and pickles.
I should have known that. Yeah.
I don't know what my second would be. That's what I definitely would go for first, though.
Like, and a smoothie.
Yes, and a smoothie. Absolutely. I'm like upset.
Or a coffee.
Okay, anyways, mid-tangent. He's in here trying to talk these damn oracles, and I'm over here trying to talk about food and thrifty.
You're like, I'm making a menu. What are you doing?
Either way, they confirm that he is truly alive and fully human now, free from his role as a champion for the powers that be. The oracles explain he will now live and die as any mortal man would, experiencing all the pain and pleasures that come with it. The way that she says pleasures right here, she's very focused on it, because like we know that there's about to be some pleasure coming, but also it always makes me think of the alien women that are in the black outfits with the like high arched ponytails in the movie Dude, Where's My Car? And they're like running around there. They're the aliens that are looking for the continuum transfunctor, and they're like trying to exchange like whatever they can get to get the thing from the stupid doofy ass guys, fucking Ashton Kutcher and damn, what is it, Sean William Scott or whatever his name is. But they're always like, we'll give you pleasure. Like, are you ready for pleasure now? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
we will give you pleasure now if you give us a continuum transfunctioner.
Let me get your proposition straight. First, you give us the pleasure. Then we give you the continuum transfunctioner?
No. First, you give us a continuum transfunctioner. Then we give you the pleasure.
Heard that one before. Okay, look. How about this? You give me pleasure. Then we'll give you the continuum transfunctioner. Then if there's time, you can take care of my friend. Dude.
Deal.
Sweet!
And they keep running into them and shit like that. That shit's so funny. But it made me think of that, just the way she says pleasure. I'm going to put their little clips in here too to explain what I'm talking about. It's going to be fun. That which they serve, though, Angel no longer serves. He is released from his fealty. And a little vocabulary lesson for everyone. That word fealty, because I didn't know what it meant, it means intensely sworn loyalty or faithfulness, allegiance to a person, organization, or cause. AKA the cause, the organization, the powers that be, the PTB. It's out. He's out. He's not there anymore. They turn to leave down their chambered hallway. Angel confused. That's it. He's free, and with a wave of the man's hand and a flash of light, Angel spit back through the portal to Doyle, who was very confused on how time worked, because he was like, he said, like, you just went in, like, which is kind of interesting. Like, time is rolling. He'd have been in here talking to them for 10 minutes, and like in Doyle's mindset, like, he just walked in the door and walked back out. So, bro, did you even talk to them? I said, go in there and talk
So
to
you've
them.
been gone for a minute.
He said, that was quick. Literally.
I do like that he was like, check your watch.
Literally, though. That's in my quotes. They discuss this being real. It's happened. He's free, wondering what he does now, which really is whatever he wants. And Doyle asks the obvious question, what do you want then? We then cut to Buffy walking through a sunny garden overlooking the ocean, where she senses something behind her. Turning to see Angel walking toward her fully in the sunlight, she stares in disbelief before Angel reaches her, pulling her into his embrace. As the Buffy and Angel close your eyes theme cues up and they begin to kiss passionately. Of course, you know why Swoon and I melted this. Like, if somebody rolls their eyes, I'm about to knock them out the back of your fucking head. Like, I ain't got time for all that. Like, no. It's just sweet because these people haven't kissed in so long. But then you're also, like, right now, like, this is like the second up of, like, Angel turning back human, and you being like, what the fuck is about to happen? This is too unreal. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like where you were in your expression and, like, what you, like, chose to vocalize whenever we were watching it together. Mm-hmm. You're like, what the fuck? Oh, God. And that's basically where I am. But for a moment, I swoon because I'm like, oh, this is so great. They're like, she's never kissed him in the sunlight before. She was not around when the gem was on his finger the last time. I'm just like, no.
That's true. Yeah.
Back at Angel Investigations, Cordelia explains Buffy and Angel's history to Doyle while both of them quietly spiral over the implications of Angel becoming human and how he and Buffy have been downstairs in his apartment for the last couple of hours. Cordelia warns Doyle that whenever Buffy and Angel get too happy together, disaster usually follows, him inferring that they do deserve a little happiness after all they've been through, right? And she reminds them, you know, when they get groining with one another, therein lies the danger. Doyle retorts that Angel's not cursed anymore, so it's left for her to assume that they are down there, you know. Cordelia snapping back.
Oh, please. They've got the forbidden love of all time. They've been apart for months. Now he's suddenly human. I'm sure they're down there just having tea and crackers.
Which is so fucking funny because meanwhile, when in-scene transition magic occurs and we clipped it downstairs and this bitch is literally, he's like pouring her, he's like, you want some more tea? She's like, no, I'm good. So I didn't see no crackers on the table, but at the same time, like, I love when they do stuff like this. But that also just is like a message to Cordelia to be like, don't be assumpting, or people in general, don't assume what you do not know. Because yeah, we would expect that. That's the first thing Courtney said a second ago, a second human, like, we about to fuck. Like, it's pent up in me. That's what you said a little bit ago whenever Angel turned human, you know?
It's
so
true.
It is what it is. Like, go find Buffy, whatever. No questions, no answers. Just do it. Also, don't do that. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, but here we are. That's pretty much blah blah blah. He apologizes for the kiss, and she is taken aback because, you know, she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, I don't mean for the kiss itself, I just mean for, like, you know, just in general the principles here. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then, like, go back and forth about, like, how it was above average and, like, incredibly even. I'm like, oh shit, that was a pretty good kiss. Damn. She's like, it's been a long time. They begin discussing what being human actually means. Angel tries approaching things cautiously, worried about rushing back into the relationship too quickly without knowing whether this change is permanent or not. Buffy jokes about Angel overthinking things while both of them try unsuccessfully to act rational about the situation. Really like Angel's approach right here. I appreciate the apprehensive state, I guess is what I'll say, like, over him being like, oh, I don't want to possibly hurt you again. We don't know if this is actually what's happening. Like, sure, I've been granted human ability and stuff like that, and I'm not a vampire anymore, so technically this curse is non-existent. But, like, we know what happened the last time when things went awry. And also, what if this does have, like, I don't know, like a catch to it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so I appreciate that he sat down and was like, again, the mature perspective, because obviously Buffy's over here on your perspective and being like, let's just go in your bedroom and the bed's right over there. Like, what are you talking about? Let's continue to kiss and see what happens. All of that type of stuff.
She's like, we'll deal with the consequences later.
That's what her attitude for the most part. But thankfully Angel grounds them though, because I feel like it is worth debating in the time that they do. versus, I mean, it doesn't last long, but like just the debate to be there, to be like, should we, shouldn't we, should we wait like a couple of days and see what happens and stuff like that. And obviously that doesn't sound pleasant to either of them. And the emotional restraint lasts only a few moments before Buffy starts to leave, and they kind of have like a moment where they're touching each other's hands and shit like that, and then they just give in completely. Like I don't know, it's like kind of like whenever you're trying to beat around the bush about something, you're like, oh yeah, we shouldn't do that, and then you just end up doing it. Here we are.
It's like A for effort.
AKA basically Angel pulls Buffy into a kiss. And I like the little sequence just because like they start kissing and then all of a sudden they like really grope into it. He's like slinging her on the fucking kitchen counter or like his table or what the fuck ever, knocking all the damn teacups off and shit like that. I was like, damn, he's like, I gotta have you right the fuck now. I'm like, someone take me this way. Like the fuck? Like,
I'm saying.
Never have I ever. You always see it in the movies, like the people that have been like working together in the corporate office, like finally get the moment they slide everything off the desk and do it on the desk type thing. Like, man, that shit don't really happen in fucking life.
No, I feel like this is the kind of shit you have to be like, you have to look at your partner or somebody and be like, hey, so we're gonna role play.
Yeah,
and
for real.
You're my boss and I'm the secretary and there's tension and you have to slide all your shit off your desk. And that's the only way it's gonna happen.
Literally. Well,
because when are you ever going to be in that situation?
Apparently never. Let us know if you've been in that situation. We need to hear the stories. You can send it to us and I'll just read it, and I'll text it to Courtney since she doesn't have access to the read app stuff, and then we'll just know your personal business. We'll start a new podcast called Personal Biz Podcast. Seshties with the Heshties. Go ahead and bring that up from the other day. I'm just kidding. I'm going to finish my sentence though from earlier when I went off on like a little bit of a tangent. I was just saying like things do go awry again, and like they get to experience this, and unfortunately they have to separate again by the circumstances choice occurred. So like it kind of is fucked up that they chose to do this. Had they have just chose to wait a couple of days, they could have saved themselves all this heartbreak. It wouldn't have been as emotional had they have not started living out this day and living together. You know what I mean? So it kind of like, this is what caused them to fuck up, them not having self-restraint, which I get them having none because they've never been granted like this access to each other before. But in hindsight,
well, that, and it's like Buffy went there with the intention of doing one thing, which is basically to say her piece and then go on about her life and reestablish her boundaries, I guess. And then to literally not just be already dealing with the conflicting emotion of that person being in front of you and you still having to follow through with your actions and what you're saying and not cave to just their presence. But now you're taking it an extra mile and you're confronted with your whole fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, like the one thing that you have been like pining after, and the one thing you've been dreaming for, and the one like obstacle that's always stood in the way with the circumstances at large has been removed. And like, you know, it's just so many things. So I'm like, how really difficult would it be to have everything that you've ever dreamed of come at you at a day where you're least expecting it? Not that you'd ever be expecting it, but this is probably the day she was expecting this option at the very last.
You know, obviously.
So I don't know. I feel like it would be really, really difficult to go from such a neutral place where you feel like you're in control of yourself because you're the one walking into the situation with the intention of establishing boundaries, to then be slapped in the face with like a carrot dangled in front of you, you know, and be like, here's everything you've ever wanted. And how would you not just go for that? Because like you just said, they've never been allotted anything, so much less time together. So of course, like a few days could also mean not experiencing this at all.
Yeah.
Because I, you know, subconsciously, I think, you know, like this can't be for real. Like this can't be 24/7, 365 the rest of our lives. Like, so I don't know. I would have probably been like, we're going to deal with everything later. We're going to definitely do what we need to do right now.
Yeah, well, obviously that's what the route they took. I was just thinking, like, they could have not.
I know. It would just take more restraint, I think, than most.
Could it ever be that easy? No.
No.
Not on this show or the other one.
Or in life.
Well, experiencing life is what we see next, because we shift to later that night and find Angel nude, my favorite part, as he raids the fridge, returning to Buffy in bed with various foods. I love how he's using all the foods in his hand to like cover up his wiener and shit. And I thought it was cute because when we flash back over to her, she's wearing the shirt that he was wearing beforehand, and it like obviously swallows her because she's so much smaller than him. And I was just like, oh my god, that's so cute. They share ice cream and chocolate covered peanut butter, all the things. Like, fuck. And I like just peanut butter and chocolate. They get on like hooked on that for a second. And I'm like, oh my God, can you name a better combo half the time? Peanut butter and chocolate are just meant to be together at the end of the day. Any kind of nut, honestly, is meant to be with chocolate. They just pair so well together. But again, I was talking about like what we're kind of talking about. Can you imagine all their pent up sexual energy over the years finally being able to come out? Like these two haven't had sex since Buffy's 17th birthday, and it's been like 2 years since then, and they've been in love the whole time and not able to do any of this. So like the fact that here in a second Buffy's like, oh, I'm spent, like they've been literally in here just fucking and fucking and fucking and fucking and fucking and fucking and fucking as much as many times as they can. I'm just like, this is going on. Y'all gonna need to wash them bed sheets afterwards for sure. Do they have condoms? I'm gonna need to know. Is Buffy like being like, I want this load, please let me take it? Like
Oh.
I want to know.
Here we go.
Like, is it a pull-out method? Are they just because I mean, what if a baby had been introduced into the mix and like Buffy found out she was pregnant, and then the other day resets, and now we ain't got that? Like, I'm doing too much. I understand clearly, but it's my job in life as a gay to be dramatic and do too much. The entire sequence, though, to be serious about it, it slows the episode down to like a warm, dreamlike stretch where for just a few moments we get to experience normal intimacy between these two. Like, you know, they're just eating junk bed. They're just eating junk food in bed, teasing each other, and just like simply existing. And they don't have the weight of, like I said earlier, curses, vampires, apocalypses hanging over them right now at this moment. Because, you know, to this moment, they think the fucking the Mora demon's dead. So they're just like, oh, life's basically normal again. But now the new established normal. Buffy comments that the time that he spent in the kitchen was the longest time that she needed. She's like, that's enough time apart. She's like, you need to get your ass back over here in bed. We're just going to live in here now. She also expresses that she's over the acting mature thing and they need to surrender to each other now, or at least surrender to licking ice cream off Angel's chest, because that's what happens when he accidentally drops some shit all over his chest. And she's like, I got this. And she just leans down and licks his chest. And I was like, ooh, she was doing that a little bit ago too, whenever something else was leaking out. But they just love on each other. It's so sweet. And something else I feel like I noticed, like that I overlook it because it hasn't gone anywhere yet, but Buffy really said fuck Riley this episode, because over on her show we're getting like the sparkage like between Riley saying he likes her and them starting to like be not, they're not a thing or anything, you know what I mean? But like obviously we know what's going on over at Buffy, but like clearly we know who she would choose if she had the option, if like human Angel was right here before him and like she just had started, she hasn't really started anything with Riley yet, so it's fair. But at the same time, when you watch this episode, you don't even think about the fact that like Riley has expressed interest on her, or you might be thinking like, oh cute, like another love interest, yada yada. None of that comes into context.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, Cordelia and Doyle sit drinking at a bar, both assuming their jobs are effectively over now that Angel is human, and Cordelia worries that she's unemployable outside of helping a vampire with a soul save the world. She's like, I can literally do nothing now. I'm like, Cordelia, what about acting? Aren't you still an actress? Like, aren't you still trying to do all that? You said it was like this was a sidestep thing that you were doing until your inevitable career takes off. So where's the inevitability of that? Like, Cordelia. I'll slap for this episode apparently or something. Doyle jokes about finally being free from his bone-crushing, mind-splitting bullshit-ass visions. Only the second for him to say that, he's hit with one of those bone-crushing, mind-splitting bullshit-ass visions, showing him that the Mora demon is actually alive again and attacking Angel, aka they've got trouble. This poor guy, every time this happens, he's like, did that a few episodes ago where he's talking about like having the headache, the medicine for the headache or something like that, and Cordelia says something to him and he's like, yeah, I don't like those things, and then he has a fucking another one 2 seconds later. I'm like, oh my god. Back at Angel's apartment, Buffy falls asleep listening to Angel's heartbeat while telling him this is the first time she's ever truly felt like she wanted to, like a normal girl falling asleep in her normal boyfriend's arms. It's just perfect. Before drifting away, commenting she wants to stay awake so this day can keep happening. He tells her to sleep, promising they'll make another perfect day tomorrow. Oh my god. They're just like, when you rewatch this episode for a second time, you're just like, oh my god, this is just continuing to be more and more fucked up. This bitch, they're feeding us everything of this bitch telling us like, I've never felt like a normal girl since I became the Slayer, and now I kind of do again, especially the normal girl being with you, and I've never just been able to like have sex with my boyfriend, not have him leave and go kill all my friends, like you know, all this stuff. There's so much on the line. They're just putting this all out in front of us so that way we can just be like really hurt for fucking later.
Of course.
Later on that night, literally, like I don't know how long it's been, Angel watches Buffy sleep on him because he never goes to sleep himself apparently, and Doyle arrives to warn him that the Mora demon has regenerated stronger than before, telling him of his vision. He prepares to go and fight it, but Doyle is hesitant. He's like, maybe we should bring Buffy along, and Angel's like, nah, I'm good, I can take this, I gotta be able to do this without her, I gotta prove myself type thing. I don't really know where his logic is right in here, but he refuses in general. He's like, I need to prove that I can fight demons without risking Buffy's life. That's just what the situation is now. Obviously, they should have woke Buffy up because as we see 2 seconds from now, Angel gets his fucking ass kicked. Why would you even try to go up against it? I know you might have, he still has his training. He's, practiced stuff himself and like fought in the past and been fighting and doing the thing. So, I mean, he could probably take it against a human and use all these moves and stuff. But the damn Mora demon is going to whoop your ass in 2 seconds. So why are you doing this? Why not just wake Buffy up and take her? It's a dumb ass decision, but obviously we know why he can't take her with him, because we need to have this whole moment that's about to come and all that stuff. But I'm just like, bro, you're not really thinking very logically. That's my argument all day and tomorrow, because Angel, you're just a regular dude now. Like, there's no way in hell, shape, or form. You need to go call somebody else. You need to find out where another investigating place is that handles demon cases, and you need to be the helpless this week. That's where I'm going to leave that. We cut to Angel and Doyle tracking the demon to a salt refinery while researching weaknesses from the Book of 𝐄𝐻. He's like, grab the Book of 𝐄𝐻, let's go. Doyle reads that the demon can regenerate endlessly unless darkness is brought to 1,000 eyes. It's 1,000 eyes. Angel jokes about only seeing 2 before they discover bodies inside the refinery. The sight and smell of blood then overwhelming Angel too. I thought that was interesting. He's not smelt like dead bodies like rotting before, and now he's like really taking it back from it. And I was like, why is Doyle not also about to puke? Because he's just used to, well, he's also half demon. Never mind. Ignore my thought. Well, I mean, he's half demon though, so maybe he just like turns his head a little bit to the side and covers his nose. I don't know. The Mora demon is seen lingering above them when it finally attacks, dropping down on them. Doyle gets knocked unconscious and immediately back. That thing throws that fucker. Like, he kicked him and Doyle just sailed off the screen. Like, I didn't even see his ass. I was like, oh shit. Crazy. And then you look over at Angel, and I bet you Angel's like, like I said, thankfully he knows some moves, so he possibly knows how to avoid some of those incoming attacks. But I'm like, that just lets us know that one, the Mora demon is definitely stronger than what it was beforehand, but also just what its strength is in general, and also a reminder that Angel has no strength anymore. So like, Angel, we about to watch you next get across the fucking room. Yeah, for real. And while he is fighting him though, I mean, he does hold his own really well for like a minute, but like he keeps getting back up to every single time. Like, he's overpowered by this demon, but he keeps getting back up to fight, which says a lot just of who he is in character. I'm going to continue to fight even if it's my last type of thing. Meanwhile, back at his home, Buffy wakes up alone and heads upstairs to the office, where she finds Cordelia putting sticky notes on the office furniture, preparing for like a going out of sale business. She's like, what the fuck? I guess these are all her items, or she's just expecting that the fucking shop's going to close. I'm like, Angel ain't even said that this is not what's going to happen. Y'all could still be an investigation agency. Y'all could just handle normal cases.
I know, right? What the fuck? You can still investigate.
Open up a thrift store. Go work with the collective people that work, and that's where Cordelia's next job could be. Xander could work too, because he's always looking for a job over on Buffy. So them two can just link up, and she'd be like, "Oh fuck, I gotta work with this fucker." Buffy though realizes that something is wrong and pressures Cordelia for information. Cordelia finally snaps and accuses Buffy of wanting both Angel and the world at the same time, before accidentally revealing Angel went after the Mora demon alone. I didn't write down all their dialogue, but like, I've been meaning to say, like, throughout the episode too, that Cordelia's outfit's really cute. I really took notice to it here and remembered to put it in my notes, but she's got on this like orange halter top, and like I noticed that she just really looks good in orange, because she was in orange whenever she had that crossbow aiming into that spike, and I talked about like the color of her hair being like really good against her skin tone with orange and stuff too. Point being though, like the whole exchange between her and Buffy, I feel like it's annoying, just like the exchange she had with Angel at the beginning, Buffy and him. Like, I feel like she's acting some sort of way towards Buffy all this episode, and I'm not personally really here for it, because some of the stuff that they're spouting off about, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are y'all at each other's like throats and stuff like that? And like, thankfully Buffy comes back and kind of retorts some bullshit to her when she makes her comments to Cordelia about like, can't we like focus on what's going on in my life? I'm like, Cordelia, this is literally of all things not about you. Like, I get it, you work for Angel and you've grown a little bit of a bond with him, but you act like you don't know Buffy or their history and stuff like that. You should just tell her so she can possibly help him. Why are you not clicking in your head and being like, oh, Angel's human now, he went off to fight that demon, if you're so worried about the fact that he did it because of Buffy too? Like, you should want him to be safe. So why are we bitching about this shit right now? I'm like, thankfully Buffy matches your energy and gets sassy with you and shit like that. I was like, do you not remember this girl who just put hands on you and knock your fucking head off your shoulders in 2 seconds flat? Like, I would not be getting like all spouty with this. I was just like, I I don't get where all this annoyance comes from Cordelia all across the fucking episode when it comes to Buffy. Like we said earlier, it's just still, even in this moment, confusing to me. I'm just like, what is
Yeah,
all of
no, I
this?
totally agree.
Just tell her. Like, she's asking you a question too, and you're beating around the fucking bush. Like, I get it maybe at first, being like, oh, because she's trying to be respectful for Angel. Like, he told her not to tell her. Like, don't tell
But
Buffy what's going on.
Cordelia to call out someone for making something about themselves for a second when she's the queen of doing that, and she does that like 6 times throughout the episode. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah, that's literally what we know her for. But I guess she's grown, so like maybe it's not that way right now for her. Just like, no.
But she hasn't.
This what's going on is a lot more at stake than what's happening in your life right now, Cordelia. So we gotta do that.
I'll say.
Back at the refinery, Angel barely survives long enough for Buffy to eventually arrive crashing into the fight. I didn't like obviously put it in the dialogue and stuff, but I thought that was interesting that like they fall into this big well thing. I was like, well, Angel's never going to get back out of there if he had not had Buffy. But also like, now he's not just can't, because he runs off from the Mora demon before we cut back to the scene with Cordelia and Buffy, like showing that like he's actually out trying to run from it, and then obviously it's still in pursuit of him. It like hits him, knocks him into this big well thing, and they like continue to battle and shit like that. But then obviously we just come off of that scene, and now 2 seconds later, when he can't hold his own in this well, Buffy comes crashing in. I was like, what did this bitch do? Teleport? Like, she got there so fast. Now, obviously, the scene with her and Cordelia probably happened like 20 minutes before that, like they got there to the thing. So maybe Buffy was en route to the place as they were getting there, and the fight was starting to occur. You know what I mean? Obviously,
Yeah.
for the TV show purposes, it's movie magic in that way. But I was like, Buffy ain't got no damn car. How the fuck did she get there so fast? Slayer strength does not make you run fucking 14,000 miles per hour. Like, you're not a Superman who can just fly through the sky. It's the dumb shit that I gotta point out because this is just so crazy, but obviously it works. The Mora demon goes on to taunt both of them, warning of larger armies of darkness that are still to come. A great darkness is coming.
You got that right.
I thought that was funny because it's just like what I was talking about on Buffy the other day when we were recording it, talking about how the demon makes the comment to her and she's like owning her Slayer power. And she's like, nah, bitch, I'm about to fuck you up. That was on the Pangs actually last episode. During Buffy's fight with Mora, Angel realizes that the Thousand Eyes weakness refers to the glowing jewel embedded in the demon's forehead. After throwing salt in its eyes, Buffy destroys the jewel with the demon's own weapon, causing the Mora to explode into light and finally disintegrate. So that's how you kill it. Buffy rushes to Angel, cradling him in her arms and assuring him that it's over and that they are together. Which is so sad because he's like, beat the fuck up. And she's like, now I gotta lift you up out of this bitch. We gotta climb this wall, so you gotta come on. Like... she's like, I'm gonna go out there and find a rope and I'm gonna pull your ass up because I don't know if I can carry you. I can only imagine Buffy putting him on her back and carrying him up the fucking damn wall. We flash back over, I guess, forward in time to when Angel has secretly returned to the oracles because we find him back in there. But this time he's brought a gift because the lady is very pleased with this decision because he's brought her some little urn and stuff like that, which seems more appropriate for them because she's like, ooh, like, she just loves anything, honestly. It's the guy that has a problem with every fucking thing that gets brought in here. She runs the business and he just does the cataloging or something, must be. Angel asks what happens if larger armies of darkness truly are coming, and the oracles reveal Buffy will eventually die facing them. Angel begs them to help to let him become a vampire again because as a human he can no longer properly protect her and fight beside her. I like whenever this comes up, when he makes this comment, the Angel theme that we haven't heard in a while. It's called I'm Game, I do believe, but it's like that champion type music that comes in. We'll hear it a lot throughout the series, but we heard it when he's overlooking the city at the end of his first episode. So it's basically a call to action of him like reaffirming that like this is my path, you know what I mean, which is kind of interesting as a callback because we got that, like I said, at the end of the very first episode where he claims like I'm game to take on like this next chapter of my life.
It is not our place to grant life and death and ask you to take mine back. Look, I can't protect her or anyone this way, not as a man.
You're asking to be what you were. A demon with a soul. Because of the Slayer.
Oh, this is a matter of love. It does not concern us. Yes, it does.
After making them aware the Mora demon achieved what it sought out to do, take a warrior from the powers that be, how he's no good to them like this, he again asked for them to make him what he was to make this right. The male argues with his sister about temporal folds and how they shouldn't do this for the lower being. Her disagreeing, acknowledging that Angel is willing to sacrifice every drop of human happiness and love that he's known for another, that he is not a lower being. I like that. Like, she probably would agree with him earlier, like I was saying. But right here, she kind of flips the script. She's like, no, this is not a lower being that's standing before us. Clearly, this is somebody that's like worth this. You know what I mean? And like, clearly we need him back on our side. So let's like entertain this idea real quick. The oracles explain the only way to undo what happened is to erase the entire day from existence. 24 hours from the moment of the demon's attack is where time will pick back up once reversed. And yes, Angel, that means you and Buffy will have never shared this experience. It never occurred. He's confused, wondering what will stop them from reliving the same experience, doing the exact same thing again. The female oracle confirming he will, dropping the bomb that only he will retain the memory of it all. He alone will carry the memory of this day. Questioning, can you carry that burden? Angel staring at her pained. I sound like I'm reading a book. I wanted to put all that in there though, because like this scene, this moment like chokes me up every time too, because like there's this ominous tone carried within the oracle's words. Angel's being hit with like what's at stake here, and is given the chance to make a choice again within the question that she asked. And this really ties back to kind of what we've talked about with the Gem of Amara last time. In both situations, Angel's presented with something that could fundamentally change his existence. And the last time it was obviously a chance at daylight and stuff like that. It was like a little bit more mediocre. Immortality, like he could go up against vampires and fight and stuff like that. This time it's like the daylight along with humanity, intimacy, real future possibilities. All the things that he like deeply wants, honestly. And both times he willingly gives them up because he believes the mission matters more than his own happiness. And I think that's what makes Angel a very compelling character to me, because he's constantly forced, and we've seen it time and time again, into these impossible emotional corners where the right choice is also the most painful one. And Angel has to carry the weight of each time's loss. The best word I can give him is selfless, because like the fact that he regularly has to make the hardest decisions and always tends to make the best ones, whether it be for himself or for others, even if it's not, because he doesn't include Buffy in the decision that for him to come there and hide behind her in the shadows. He doesn't include her in this decision to become what he was again and take back the day. It's fair for her to not know. Obviously, he goes back home and tells her and stuff like that, but he could have just not. But I don't know. It's a selfless act to do stuff like this and like say, I'm going to go back to the fucking thing that I was. Someone that would be referred to as a lower being. I'm going to go back to that.
Yeah.
But now that at least he has the gas up of her being like, you know, you're not a lower being. You're like a mediocre middle one. You're not quite higher being our status yet. She's like, maybe you can be a co-owner of Thrifty Sisters one day, or Thrifty Siblings, whatever the fuck I said. But like, I don't know. It's just like fucked up and stuff.
I mean, this is where I was kind of conflicted, because I don't know if, like, I understand it and it is selfless, and I guess the other way would have been a little bit more selfish, but it's almost hard to look at it that way too, because being human means so many things that equate to danger for them specifically, you know? So I understand why he made the choice he made, so that way he could adequately like be a source of protection, because he's not going to be able to do that in human form.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I almost wish there was the moment we get now that we're going into where he goes and tells Buffy what's going on. I almost wish he would have done that somehow prior, or I don't know, like if there was this moment where they could have had a conversation about what he's doing, you know, and been like, here's my options.
Some people on reviews and stuff go for that route, or just like their insight on that is like this. Some people also elaborate, like we
but like you're making choices for both of you, I guess, is my problem. You know, and you're doing it in a way where you've made the choice and you can't retract the choice, and then not only do you have a different choice from that point forward, because like you just said, he didn't have to go immediately tell her.
Yeah.
Especially with minutes on the clock, he could have just stayed the fuck outside of his house and let the day reset, not gone through all the heartbreak we're about to go through.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like there's so many things he could have done differently, and I don't know if there is an actual like textbook right way.
Is there ever truly, you know?
No, and I respect his moral code, you know, as far as like surrendering it all so he could be a better source of protection. But then it's almost difficult to not view it as, is this a source of protection for Buffy, or is this you self-preserving in a way? Because
both, probably.
you don't want to go there. You don't want to be human. You don't want to deal with the consequences of that. You don't want to be pained in human form. Like, you enjoy actually being a vampire because it leaves you without all these emotional consequences, and it's easier just to go back into your layer of comfort. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that go on here that makes it really like hard to be like, this was 100% correct and accurate and the way to do it. I understand it though, so it's it's not confusing in that regard. I get why he did what he did, and it makes perfect sense, especially for the sake of the show. Because like I said yesterday when we got done watching it, it would have made no sense. Not it would have made no sense, but it would have been a lot difficult to remove the element of him being a vampire and then continue on with Angel investigations, and it just be Doyle that has random visions, and that's all. That's it.
Well, he wouldn't have been charged with them anymore. They would have like not that they wouldn't have still been friends, but Doyle would either went off to do something else or like got a different champion to hang out with and stuff like that.
Yeah. So for that reason, even like for the sake of the show, I get why they kind of had to have this be the end of the episode where like it's this choice, you know, and either by one choice we forget everything that just happened or we resume with where we're at, which we can't do because that it would erase everything we just built on Angel. So I don't know.
I think it's fair to say like everybody should always be granted the option to like choose for themselves too and not somebody else make a decision for them. But in this case, if he had went back home to Buffy, she would have been like on like before any of this stuff, if he hadn't went and talked to the oracles yet and he hadn't had that conversation beforehand, she would have probably been very against him making this decision, and no matter what, and that would have cost them a problem because as the oracles say, like there's going to be these waves of armies still to come because of the Mora demon and stuff like that if they don't defeat it and whatnot, or however whatever way it becomes. This is the part where people say I wish we had more context around what would have happened to Buffy or like the demon lore of what's going on, talking about these armies coming and like that she doesn't survive it. Basically they were like, well, she'll still live for a bit but she eventually dies, like as every human does, but like sooner in her case, because they're saying her Slayer journey ends because she's killed by something. Demons overpower her, whatever the case. So he is doing it to protect her. I don't think it's just his self-preservation, and that's worth having an argument on. And like I don't know that he would want to truly go back to being a vampire. I think he's making the decision because he knows it's going to be the best decision. It's not cool that he's not inviting her into the conversation, but at the same time, it's just like if you really knew, if you had all the future instances and you were like, whatever the case scenario was, that what the outcome was going to be, and somebody wasn't making that decision, you know, you have to make the right decision to get you to that point. And that was what he did. You know what I mean? So it just is that. But a lot of people go back and forth all over the place on like, what can we do here? Like, why was this like kind of like, I don't know. This is the part that kind of gets muddled because they have to clean up everything they did and like make it make sense in some way. But there's still some loose based little things that we need to seal up and tie in certain ways too, because we don't really see that these big armies or any future Mora demons or any other stuff really happen for Buffy except her natural battles over on her show and then Angel's battles happening over on this show. This isn't really touched base on upon again, except for the fact that obviously huger battles do come. So maybe we can have a future conversation that ties back to sort of their comments and stuff like that, and we'll figure that out then.
But in what case is that not her reality even?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm like, that's just another Tuesday morning.
So are they just
like,
talking about for her? Is she going to meet somebody that's going to kill her one day or something like that, or a vampire that just is like too strong for her, just like it happened before in the past? Or I don't fucking know. Either way. Well, we fade back to Angel returning home to Buffy. Buffy realizes something is wrong the moment she sees his face, and Angel explains he went to see the oracles, asked them to turn him back into a vampire because now more than ever he realizes how much that he loves her, and if he stays mortal, Buffy would eventually die. Buffy desperately argues that they can fight together, basically trying to already sway his opinion and options and yada yada, but the deal is done. Angel insists his humanity makes him a liability and weakness for both of them, and Buffy begins to get emotionally upset that he's weighed the ups and downs of being human and coming out on the decision of being more fun a superhero, which is kind of the angle you took with it too, or like grants it as an option. He disagrees. That's not it, and she knows that, questioning how could they be together if the cost is her life or the lives of others. Close Your Eyes finally descends in the score, and Buffy's crying to him as he steps closer to embrace her, expressing he wasn't sure if he could tell her of his decision, knowing that he wouldn't have chosen to do this if he had woken up beside her one more day. She claims to understand, sniffling, asking him what happens now. He explains the time reversal agreement. She wonders when, as he looks to the clock, acknowledging that they only have another minute. She begins to freak out, crying that's not enough time, and I totally get this. Like, even an hour wouldn't help. Just be like being told that the time and date and second that you're going to die.
No, and then every minute becomes torture.
Exactly, but then you only have this one singular minute. Like, so fucked up. Obviously, it's right for her to be crying. It's not enough time, and she goes on to continue more crying, saying, how am I supposed to go on knowing what we had, what we could have had? Him admitting the truth that she won't, only he will. She then cries more because it just keeps on fucking coming. It's like big waves. Like, it starts small, like now like it's flooding. She's like, but everything we did, and he's like, it never happened. And she's like, not accepting it. She's like, I know it happened, reaching out her hand to touch his chest, and she's like, I felt your heartbeat, which is so fucking devastating, just because of the instances we've always seen her with him. He doesn't have heartbeat, he's always cold, it's just a problem. then looking up to him in the most pathetic looking expression ever seen that I've ever seen Sarah Michelle Gellar make. Like her sad eyes, like everyone always comments on this. It's devastating to watch her look at him like this. And she begins to passionately kiss him, stopping to look back at the clock that's reaching the end of the minutes, like at 13 seconds. And she's looking back to him to cry more. It's not enough time, latching on to him, incessantly repeating while flooding tears, I'll never forget, I'll never forget, I'll never forget. Like he's crying along with her too. They're just in each other's arms, fucking going crazy. And the way they're gripping each other too, it's like they both are holding on. Like somewhere in time, they're still standing there like that. It's so fucking devastating. A big flash of light appears and time folds backward, and Angel is now standing before Buffy when she arrived in the office, expressing they will keep their distance until a lot of time has passed. Given enough time, they should be able to. Angel remembering his line and completing her sentence, forget. I said it yesterday after we watched the episode. The cold open starts with Angel completing her sentence about forgetting. And then before it brings us back to this moment, the last thing Buffy is repeating is, I'll never forget. Like, that's such a clever little insert in writing that's done within here. But it's also, that's the part that I think over everything makes it the most tragic, because it hits different when Angel has to say it the second time after just listening to the love of his life cry, saying, I'll never forget, I'll never forget. And he's back here in front of her saying, we have to forget. Like, oh, like that's what chokes me up. Like I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. Like it's just really sad. The way that he holds his composure immediately when flashing back, like you got to think about it. Like literally seconds ago, and his memory is still continuing on from that day. He's just standing right before her. Like he was just crying. He's got tears in his eyes right now when he appears back in front of her, and says nothing, like acts the scene out the way it needs to go and stuff like that. I would never be able to hold my composure like that. I'd be coming to be like, girl, I'm just really upset that you're back right now. Can we take 5? Like, he's talking about, I know a demon's about to attack, but like, I need 5. The demon smashes down. He's about, can we do this in 2 seconds, please? Like, something. That would be me. I just wrote my notes right here. I said, I'm sorry, Angel. But I also want to speak on the fact that Sarah and David, they ate that shit up. Like that, as an audience watching it, especially if you really care about it, like you feel the weight of the decision that's happening, especially once you go back and watch it a second time. You see that like there's seconds left in this reality, and it like makes it crush you to the fucking core of what you could be pounded into. Like they come in hot with the Buffy Close Your Eyes theme for like, we haven't heard that in forever either. Shangel's reviews wrote in their little thing, they talk about fuck you, David Greenwald and Joss Whedon, for doing this to us. I was like, oh my God, I so agree with that. But I also want to say for Buffy here, like when Angel points out, how can we be together if the cost is your life or the lives of others? And then right after that, she says, I understand. Like an old version of Buffy, I feel like wouldn't have cared quite the same as much as this one does. But it like clicks in her head when she's like, oh wait, other lives are going to be at stake. We're not going to be able to continue this. I get why you did what you did and why this is just the facts of life. You know what I mean? Like why is this going to happen? So like I like the mature, even in knowing that everything's going to be stripped from her, she still like accepts her duty kind of once again within that statement too. It's very Slayer-esque. So I'm just giving her flowers for that before I forget. Within this time, however, Angel obviously knows everything that's about to happen. The Mora demon crashes through the window again, but instead of fighting normally, Angel grabs the antique clock from his fucking desk of all fucking things and smashes the jewel in the demon's forehead. I saw that as like a final fuck you. Like you just caused you caused this whole day to be bullshit, and I'm gonna beat you up with this fucking clock. Like I'm surprised he didn't pick up that unlevel floor and just like smack that motherfucker into it. You wedge him underneath the desk. Like the Mora demon explodes into the light that we saw earlier, disappearing from reality because he's now officially dead. Buffy stares at Angel, shocked, asking how he knew exactly how to kill it. And Angel just answers like, I've had a lot of time to catch up on my reading. Buffy nods slowly before saying she guesses that they've covered this, right? Like they're done. That's all there really is to say. Angel glances down at the broken clock, stopped at 9:02 a.m., just 2 minutes past when they were together last. Looking back up towards Buffy, who is now barely seen. We see the backside of her walk out the door. She didn't even give him the time of day. She fucking leaves, and he quietly responds to himself, yeah, that's it. We fade to black and here into the episode. I like that little bit of the score ending too. Like it makes you feel all the things, obviously everything we just ran through, but like the little trail off there ending the episode, I saw it as like a sense of finality, like the sadness to the scene and stuff like that, because like they hit that cue. Like I'm obviously like always fucking, as I say, jacking off to music and scores and stuff within the show, but I like how they placed it. They could have left the scene kind of silent and stuff like that, so it really helps the scene and I love it. I almost suggested to, I put it right here to say, like, I was going to say that something out of here. I don't know if it was going to be the scene of them being like, I'll never forget and all this stuff. I was going to be like, why don't we do like we did in the Buffy prom episode and you be Angel and I be Buffy again. And we do the.
Oh, hell no, we don't.
Listen, though. I was like, I don't feel like crying. So I feel like I'm just going to wrap this up and like decide against it.
Mm-mm. I'm so glad.
Okay, so the final thing before obviously we get into our closing stuff, do you think Angel made the right decision overall though to like go back to the way things were based on everything?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know like that he had the best options obviously, and I think in order to keep everyone safe including Buffy, I think he did what he absolutely had to do.
Same. And it is what it is. Yeah. It sucks, but it is. We're going to carry on. When we get in the next few episodes, we just won't even be thinking about this anymore. So it'll be fine. Basically. Like, it's time for us to move on. We got to start forgetting. But we can't until after we finish this episode and I go through themes and metaphor, which is basically a regurgitation of everything we've been talking about the whole episode, because obviously the episode's about sacrifice, what it means to love someone in a selfless way. Angel's given everything he's wanted. He's human. He can be with Buffy. He can feel, connect, exist in a world that he's been cut off for so long from. The episode slowly reveals that this version of happiness comes at cost, though, and as human, Angel is no longer able to fight the same battles, and that directly impacts Buffy, himself, and others. The moment that he realizes that she would have to carry that burden alone and that it could lead to her dying sooner, that's when everything shifts, and it makes it very powerful for the choice that it's not between good and bad. It's between happiness and responsibility. Angel chooses to give up his humanity. It's not about punishment or guilt. It's about understanding that love isn't just with someone. Sometimes it's making a decision that protects them, even if it means losing them. There's also a deeper metaphor at play with time being erased. Angel is the only one who remembers what they had, which turns their entire relationship into something that only exists inside of him moving forward. It reinforces the idea that some of the most meaningful experiences don't last and don't get to be shared or remembered equally, but they still shape who you are. And the final reset brings everything back to where it started, except Angel has changed. Buffy walks away unaware of what they've just lived through, while Angel carries the full weight of that day alone. It's not just heartbreak, it's chosen heartbreak. And that's what really the core of the episode states. Angel doesn't lose Buffy because he has to. He loses her because he chooses to, which is just the penultimate fuck you to Buffy and Angel's relationship. Like, this man always makes the right decision to leave this bitch. Like, which is what they should be doing. So it is what it is. A couple of Angel fun facts. The episode follows the crossover events, obviously, from Pangs, which aired immediately before. So, back in the day and time, we just got to watch one roll into the other. The dialogue suggests that Angel was in Sunnydale for a period of 3 days, ending the night prior to the episode's start when Angel returned to Los Angeles. This is the fourth episode in which Angel is able to walk outside in the daytime. Previous occurrences during the snowfall and amends, during graduation day part 2, while wearing the Gem of Amara, and in the dark. Obviously, graduation part 2, it was an eclipse, but technically the sun was out, and the sun was out in amends. There was just snow coverage covering it. So I was like, damn, I didn't realize that. I was like, 4 times, like, this motherfucker in the past like year has walked in the fucking sunlight, technically. Just not in the actual sunlight, not the kind that burns him up.
Clearly.
And then the last one, Buffy refers to the demon in the sewers as a mutant ninja demon thing, and I thought that was funny because, like, later on in 2007, that was obviously being a reference to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sarah Michelle Gellar provided a voice role for the animated film that came out that year. She played like some little character on there. I thought she was one of the Ninja Turtles. I was all looking it up, and she plays some girl named April, and I was like, who the fuck is April? I don't know who that is. Probably somebody in the actual show, but I don't remember that show. I used to watch it a little bit as a kid, but I didn't really pay attention to it. Turtles weren't my thing. Technically, that's all for fun facts, but this is just knowledge from everybody. Like, and most people know this, but you do not. Like, during the filming of the last scene where her and David are like crying together before time reverses, if you listen back to it, David, like, Sarah is upset. It's kind of like the same kind of upset that she was experiencing during the prom scene. Whenever, like, we talked about, she had to leave set for a few minutes to like recalibrate herself and bring herself back. She really got wrapped up in that because she cares about Buffy and Angel so much and their characters, and also being over on David's show for the first time probably was just like a revisitation to all of that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But during the scene, you can hear David when he's like saying, please, Buffy, please. He actually says, please, Sarah, please, and doesn't say Buffy, and it's in the fucking like full final cut of the thing. It's a soft little whisper, but he's actually trying to tell Sarah to like calm down because she's actually like fucking dry heaving about to fucking throw up on herself because she's crying so damn hard. So sad. But what's not sad is our final slays.
Final slays.
Final slays. The stay never happened. Let's go. Start forgetting.
With that said, we're not going to do final slays.
I know. Hey, we're in our time frame, so I'm happy because by the time we run through this, we'll be good to go. Let's fly through them.
Let's do it.
What'd you choose for quotes? This will be interesting.
My first one was at the beginning when that demon first came and invaded everyone's space, and Buffy was like, "That was rude. We should go kill it." So I was like, me on any day. Buffy again, when she, and I think you said you might have this too, but when she said, "I only came to see you so I could tell you to your face, not to see me to my face."
Yeah, that's how she said it. I said it different contextually in this episode, but yeah.
And then my last one was Cordelia when she was like, "She killed him," and then she goes, "Oops, my bad. It's just the dust I forgot to sweep under the rug."
Cordelia might have been a little fucker this episode, but I had a little handful of quotes from her, and I noticed I really like her dialogue whenever she's with Doyle in scenes and stuff like that too.
Me too.
Obviously I already kind of alluded to it, but the first one from Cordelia was like the Buffy and Angel show. First they talk out their differences and then they punch them out. The pile of dust thing I also put in here as well, but then also like how Doyle right after followed it with like, "You're gonna give me a heart attack," and she's like, "Well, is it my fault that he's too cheap to hire a cleaning lady?" And I'm like, you have to do minimal work around here, Cordelia. Like, where did all this dirt and dust come from that you talk about? I forgot to sweep under the rug. I like the little play on words because usually we're talking about sweeping something under the rug too. So that was kind of there contextually as well. Doyle, whenever he was like, "Don't they deserve a little happiness?" And then Cordelia's like, "They've had the forbidden love of all time. Like, I'm sure they're down there just having tea and crackers." Just the admittance of like, they've had the forbidden love of all time. Obviously, the first second that they get the opportunity, they're going to be down there fucking. And that's really what ended up happening. But Cordelia was just off by the time frame of it. When Angel comes back through the portal, like what you mentioned earlier, Doyle's talking about like, "You just went in seconds ago. Look at your watch." And Angel goes, "I can't do that, Doyle. Next time, remind me to bring a gift." Like, funny. I'd never paid that really attention. Angel denying him and Buffy rushing back into anything and not wanting to hurt her. And then her quoting back to him, "You know, it's a good thing I didn't fantasize about you turning human a zillion times because today would have been a real letdown." I was like, oh, which makes the ending hurt more. Like whenever Buffy and Cordelia are having another spat and she's like, "Has it ever occurred to you how this whole turning human thing might affect me?" And Buffy's like, "Regrettably, no." Because Cordelia needed that little shutdown. And then my last one I found, like I talked about it yesterday when we were watching it, and I added it in here last minute whenever Doyle and Cordelia are at the bar talking about like how their lives are different now. And Doyle's like, "This is my chance to make my mark on the world." And Cordelia just goes, "We had a cat that used to do that." I'm a cat pissing on shit. So I was like, what the fuck? Crazy. Who did you land on for champion?
Angel, for figuring out that smashing the jewel kills the demon, but also for making the ultimate sacrifice to keep everybody safe.
And she said it for all of us because that's who I chose to and why. Did anything make you feel a little wigged out?
Yes, the amount of dust that Cordy left under the rug.
That's fair. Cordy's attitude could be up there for me too, but I did not write either of those things because I was like, what really? There wasn't really anything to really get Wiggins out of, like except for something mundane like that or something. But
yeah,
like mine, obviously, because I've got to like continue to punch it in. The fact that Buffy had this day that she will never remember is what's given me the Wiggins.
That's an overall Wiggins. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. For that Slade moment, I wrote, "Nothing Slade about this episode. My heart is in pieces."
You're like, my heart got slayed.
Like, yeah, literally. That what slayed my existence.
My ability to move on.
My ability to never watch this episode again. Out of fear of crying.
For Slade, I just put the moment where Angel uses his advantage wisely and taking the demon out in less than a second, the second time, knowing what to do. So
doing it anyways instead of repeating it. Yeah, I guess like Angel's, I don't really think it's Slade his choice because it's fucked up, so I can't really say that. So I'll sort of agree. Sarah, predictions. The next episode's title is Hero.
Oh, hell. Well, that's big.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how much I really want to give you. This one's going to throw you. I will say that. Okay. It's very unexpected. I'll make some facts and some sense of it whenever we get into it for sure. And obviously after you've watched it.
This will be my mystery one.
Yeah, kind of like a mystery one because I really don't want to give anything and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it angel centric?
No. What?
Every episode. Then I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you like who this has to do with and stuff like that, but like, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll give you this as a breadcrumb and you don't have to think on it like past the point of just me saying this, but after this episode, the course of Angel season 1 completely changes.
Ooh.
Completely. completely. Actually, the course of Angel the series changes after this episode. So this is like a turn you on your head, tailspin kind of episode. So
does someone die?
I can't tell you that. The fuck?
Why? There's so many. I didn't say someone in the main cast. I just said, does someone die?
People always die, but
not necessarily.
We gotta continue on with the close now. We can't talk about this anymore. Whatever. Slayer Predictions is over, just like Buffy and Angel. Well, thanks for coming to listen to us chat about this sad, fucking heartbreaking episode for Angel and Revamped. We never have to do it again now. So,
yeah,
this episode will not be in my top 10 at the end of the wrap up.
No.
It'll be an honorable mention.
Maybe.
Let us know what you guys though think of this one, and if it's a favorite of yours, along with how you feel over Buffy experiencing this but never being able to remember a moment of it, and Angel having to remember every single drop of it. Do you agree with Angel's decision? You know, I don't have any other questions. Just give us your perspectives. Thankfully, next week we'll be covering a hilariously great episode of Buffy, so I guess we'll just catch you guys back for something blue.
Let's just stick to the plan. Keep our distance until a lot of time has passed. Given enough time, we should be able to
forget.
Yeah. So I guess we've covered it, right?
Guess we did.
And that's all there really is to say.
Yeah. That's it.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Angel on Revamped. Be sure to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue the fight for redemption. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts and perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast, or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in a world left behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Until next time, remember, if nothing we do matters,
then all that matters is what we do.
This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.